Guys, yes, it's true. It is true, guys. MMO INKS has returned to tea time. Here he is.
Just in time for Mountgate.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think
timing.
I think the more important one though is Druid Gate, man. Is Balance Gate.
Oh boy.
Yeah, is Balance Gate. And that's the thing, guys. We've had a bit of a balance patch, haven't we? So should we get talking about that to start things off?
It's hard to decide what's the worst thing that happened last patch, right? Is it the druid thing? Is it the mount skins? Is it?
Wow.
What are we talking about?
You sound a little bit. You know what? Tell you what, Rocky. It seems like you got a bit of an opinion here. Tell you what. You just lay it down, man. Bring the salt. Bring the salt. Let's go.
All right. So druid. Yeah, I don't really know where to start. Grace of the Land got, like, I don't want to say bad words. Got not do rotations anymore and use staff 1 and.
Apparently, we have no sound.
I put the sound back. Oh, whoops! I forgot to set this up on the. I forgot to set this up. Hang on, let me fix this.
All right, start over.
I don't think I can fix this actually. Oh
we're
no!
still good.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Nice professional streamer.
Professional stream. The fucking NASL sound guy, guys. That was.
Alright, so Druid got wrecked by the devs. I guess we're now a might stacking class. It feels pretty bad. I don't know. I guess they drove themselves into a corner. I can kind of understand why they did what they did. But
yeah, I did a whole video on that like 4 months ago.
Yeah. They finally caught up to Nike's content, and they're like, "Oh, of course, so obvious."
I didn't suggest making it into Might though. Maybe I did. I don't remember, but not what I would have picked.
But now finally everybody plays your build, Nike. Isn't that true?
Yeah, exactly. Well, why aren't you happy? You co-created it, and now you don't want to play it.
I mean, I've always... It was just for one boss. I thought about it for one boss specifically. I've never wanted to play this on Veilguard. Never wanted to play this on Mersad Overseer or anything. It was just Matthias for me, but I don't know. Now it's everywhere.
Well, according to elitists, you can get away with like one Condi Druid, and that's all you need for Mersat Overseer.
Well, probably. I did some Golem testing on it, and all you really have to do is get to like 50% boon duration, and then if you have a perfect rotation, if you can fill your CA perfectly, which was like kind of tricky to do even on like a Golem with 10 people standing around me. Like from time to time, if you don't time like your glyphs correctly, you could still mess up. And if you do, then the result is basically your whole team not having might for like 6 to 5 seconds or something.
Well, that's worth it because you get 10k more DPS than Harrier, so it's like really good. It
sounds like a learn to play issue, man. Like you need to get
kinda
good.
I mean, to be honest, that's the sole reason I still played Druid. I would have legit quit playing Druid if there wasn't the possibility of this build, because I'm not going to play Heal Druid for the rest of my life. It's the funnest support class in this game so far has been Condi Druid to me, because it has a rotation, you know, you have like, the better you are, the better are your uptimes, basically. It's not like Heal Druid where you don't have to do anything and you just pump out heals like crazy, all right? Like you have to actually do a certain rotation, right? And now you don't have that anymore, and so I don't know. I'm just really sad about Condi Druid probably not being as much a thing anymore. But I do want to like cut ArenaNet some slack, because Grace of the Lands was too strong, I guess, and it's hard to admit, but it's probably good for the game that it's.
That sounded difficult to say. Yeah, you were struggling with that.
Pulling teeth.
It was probably good for the game. Yeah.
But the thing is, by making it into a might stack mechanic, the way that they did it, they didn't ultimately accomplish the goal that they set out for, right? I mean, the one good thing to come out of Grace of the Lands being deleted would be power creep to go away, right? Like putting a little bit of a, downer on power creep. And has it achieved that? Really? I mean, now you have like one more DPS class in your spot to kind of make up for the lack of the DPS that all the classes have lost due to not having Grace of the Lands anymore. So now every class gets a little bit less DPS, but you have more DPS classes. So ultimately, the group DPS doesn't really change all that much.
Yeah, and from like a balance perspective, from a big picture, there's more DPS classes that are viable in the game than there are support classes. So the fact that you now have 6 slots for DPS means the guy who likes to play Condi Mirage and the guy who likes to play Soul Beast and the guy who likes to play Firebrand and the guy who likes to play Weaver, they all can play now because there's room for more DPSs in the group. Plus, everyone likes big dick DPS and they want to play DPS. No one wants to play support except for crazy people like me and Roca.
What is all this big dick talk? That's like a thing now with everybody on Twitch. Big dick this, big dick that.
Big dick DPS things. Come on,
anyway, I mean, I think overall it's good for opening the composition up a little bit, right? And Grace of the Land. I mean, we said for a long time, people have said for a long time that it had to go, right? So it's gone. Goodbye. It was sweet.
You know what the worst thing was about it?
What?
It was so unexpected. I had no.
Yeah, I
warning
didn't think
about
they
this.
would.
I
really didn't think they
that.
were going to change it.
Like, usually you kind of hear rumors somewhere on the internet, or like you kind of expect something to happen, but that I did not expect, and I was very shocked when I read it.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm okay. I'm actually okay with continuing to play Druid and support. It's boring, but I mean,
I don't know. Now you have to heal twice as many people now, dude. It's engaging.
feels good. There you go.
You got to heal
The thing is,
loads
though,
of people, man.
What makes a good class, though, right? I always have been a firm believer that it's okay for a class to be simple if it has a skill ceiling, right? That means, like, it's easy to learn, but it's hard to master, right? And Druid has been a class like that. Druid has been a class that was easy to learn, to get into for Magi Druid. And if you wanted to be really good, you'd actually have to, like, practice rotations, play Connie Druid, and get your shit together. But now you don't have to do that anymore. Now it's just easy to play. Now it's not hard to master anymore. Unless the Connie Druid thing becomes a thing. That's still my hope. That's still my hope, because that is probably really punishing to mess up. So that's.
I mean, we probably won't see another balance patch until the next PvP season.
Yeah. So enjoy that. It's stuff
It'll
like
be another
this.
3
It's
or
stuff like
4
this
months.
for a minimum of 2 to 3 months. So that'll be.
I mean, the good news is we don't have a new raid to worry about anyway, so you can just keep.
There's a new raid
playing that
coming up
content.
soon. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is an interesting thing here, though, because that what they're attempting to do is make the roles a little bit more generic. So it's going to be, you have a might stacker, you have some DPS, you have the quickness guy, you have the alacrity guy, because they've added loads of alacrity to Rev now. Revenant has got alacrity for days now, which is kind of interesting. With the new trait that gives you extra energy when you swap over, so you can heal people. So it's like heal alacrity, but it can also do other stuff as well. So there's a lot of kind of generic roles they're trying to add and make fit in, so you can try some wacky comps. And although maybe Druid might end up still being the best, it looks like there are actually a bunch of different ways you could kind of configure the parties now. Actually, with these roles, you're not so much. I guess you weren't really before. I mean, you didn't have to play Druid before, right? The game was not unplayable without Grace of the Land. But
no.
I don't know. Maybe it's a bit less unplayable without Druid now. I don't know. It's difficult to say, right? That I can see what they're trying to do, and it does seem to work. But they've also accidentally power crept the game at the same time. So we'll have to see how that turns out. Different comp on every boss. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point, though. That will be a good thing, dude.
It's kind of what. Is kind of what I mean. People don't really. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I was a more active raider, people really didn't switch out classes on the norm. Even though it's more beneficial to do so if you really care about being optimal. But yeah, this definitely means that there's a lot more switching that you can do to be more optimal if you care about that.
Yeah, like 6 Weavers on KC. the best feeling ever when he phases before the meteor showers even finish dropping. That's fantastic.
I mean, you wouldn't have to relog. I mean, come on, guys. Let's not get too overexcited here. It's not like the boss will be impossible unless you relog. I mean, you can still very comfortably clear every boss with pretty much anything you want, really. I mean,
You did it with 10 Scourges, right? So
yeah, we've done every boss except Matthias and Demos with that 10 Scourge. With 10
I mean, if
Scourges.
you were killing
10 Necros.
bosses when the raid came out, classes have only gotten stronger since then. So it's not like the game suddenly became more difficult and classes became worse, because that's not the case.
Yeah, all they need to do is delete distortion, and we'll be able to play different quickness stackers as well. And what is this? Wave mix. Necro still garbage, dude. I'm gonna
Scourge is so good.
It is
so
so
good.
dude. I'm sorry, you're about to get
No.
debunked harder than QT's PS Warrior build got debunked, man.
True.
But seriously, dude, what are you talking about, man? What do you want about? Necro is amazing. They even buffed it. They added some damage to it. Desert Shroud, 25% physical, 2 seconds of extra torment. Scourge
So
now does good damage. You meant Power
I
Reaper.
messaged
Okay,
Farfstoff today. I asked him, what about Necro? Because I'm going to be on Teen Time tonight, and I want to know about Necro. But I don't, but you do, so please tell me. And he said, it's garbage.
Wait, what?
That's what he says.
Well, I mean,
It's
Power
like
Necro is
most
garbage.
believing Necro person I know. Like, he's the one person that will always make a benchmark, no matter how bad Necro is. And
Scourge is still really fucking good. It's like it used to be. You felt like you would bring. There'd be certain fights where Epi just like made them into jokes, and you would bring a Reaper for that. Like if you just wanted to trivialize it, but you knew like your overall time was going to be worse because Reaper was such shit. And then now we're in a place where Scourge is good enough at DPS that you don't feel like you're gimping your team by bringing a Scourge, and you get to trivialize the mechanics with Epi, which is like a win-win.
It's beautiful. There's almost no boss. Where Epidemic can't make the fight easy for you guys, okay? Necro is a glorious thing, and now it does a little bit more damage as well. They buffed it by a decent amount. It's a subtle buff, but it's surprisingly good, I think. I think they added a surprising amount of damage to it.
so
that's good.
but by what he told me, Condi Reaper is just as good as Condi Scourge, if not better.
Well, they deleted Condi Reaper though. It has less whirl finishes and less poison.
Well, that's what like. I haven't tested it myself. I haven't looked into Necro at all. I just asked him, and he told me Condi Reaper is around 30k, without chill fields probably around 28k. Condi Scourge is around 27 to 28k. That's what he told me.
Is it really that low?
Yeah,
Well,
I would have
because-
thought higher.
Well, I know you've
I guess
lost,
it was at 27 and it lost 10% from Grace and then got 10% from buffs.
Yeah.
So 10, still
They
27.
did-
That seems low.
They did add a lot of damage to power, all the power skills actually. In fairness, and they added a lot of power damage. The Soul Spiral, the 4 skill on Shroud, on Reaper Shroud, is up 40%. All the auto attacks are up by about 30%. The 5 skill is up by about 30%. There's loads of stuff that's up on Reaper, and I guess you do power when you do actually have damage on Reaper. You have some you Viper gear or whatever you use, or even grieving. No. So I don't know. Maybe it does make Reaper still kind of catch up a bit with the extra power damage, I suppose. But I don't know. I think Scourge is still really good. I think saying Scourge is Necro's trash. I think it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh. I mean, maybe it's not the best DPS option. Okay, I'll allow that. Maybe it's not the strongest, the biggest and strongest, but it's by far the cheesiest.
Well,
okay.
I mean, you know that anything that doesn't fall within the DPS range, people just call trash, regardless of how close or not it is to, set a range.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you have to use harsh words and hoping that ArenaNet will see it.
But they don't balance for being optimal. They just balance for viability, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but no, they don't balance for viability because literally everything is viable.
Well, there you go. It's balanced.
so they wouldn't change anything if that was all they balanced for. I mean, you know what? Well, I want to give Arena a lot of credit for this, guys. Okay, I want to give Arena a lot of credit for the Power Reaper changes because the Power Reaper changes are so cool.
But it's still shit, isn't it? Like, apparently it's 26k DPS or something. Don't tell me that's not really, really bad. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's
for
true.
All I heard,
Power Reaper is trash.
Actually lost. They apparently nerfed Condi traits, right? And apparently Power Reaper was hit by that as well, so it actually didn't benefit all that much from the last patch.
Wait.
I
Baby
don't
steps,
really
Roca,
know
baby
what I'm talking
steps,
about, but that's what I hear. So I don't know. It's like they seem to try, but they aren't really getting it, are they?
Well,
Power rev is better.
why? I mean,
Power
we've got no
I don't
grace
want to
alone.
hate
Like
on
everything's
Scourge.
out of
I
whack,
don't-
man, because of
I don't
race
just
alone.
want to hate on Necros or anything, but it just feels like whenever I talk to Necro people, they tell me it's gotten worse again. It's gotten worse again. It's gotten worse again.
for PvE,
And then
right?
I hear like they tried to better it, but they did it worse again. So
Well, I don't
It's
know,
like-
dude. We've got great trait. I mean, if we look at the new where they changed Rending Shroud to, right? Rending Shroud used to be boring and shit. It would just pulse vulnerability every 3 seconds or something. But now it changes might on you to give you more power and less condi damage. Whoa! Think how cool that is, man. It's awesome. So now you can get a 1,000 extra power instead of 750 from your might or something like that. Or something like that. Or whatever it is. Whatever it adds up to. But so now you even more power. It's still trash, but still, I mean, it's bad, but hey, it's in the right direction. They buffed all the Shroud abilities, so now it's terrifying. That might have been more aimed at PvP, though. Actually, they might have been trying to all of these Power Reaper changes. They might have tried to do something in PvP because Power Reaper is making a bit of a comeback. I mean, I don't think it's as good as Scourge, but Scourge is also broken right now. By the way, they still haven't fixed that, guys. Okay, Path of Corruption is double as good as it should be. It's hitting twice for some weird reason. That's not fixed. That's in the game. It corrupts 4 boons every 6 seconds, as Chad has pointed out a few times. Yeah, it's pretty good on a 5 target people, on a 5 targets as well.
And how is it in World vs. World though?
Power Reaper? Well, I mean everything is ranged,
Well,
so I mean
Necro in general, because Scourge is very very strong in WW before the balance.
Yeah, I mean
did it
nothing
really change
changed.
any?
No, not really. The thing is,
feels good.
It's just Scourge is only a lot better than Reaper because of the fact that it has range, and Reaper has to be very melee, and melee is a bit tricky right now because of the death bubbles. The death bubbles! So Scourge kind of reigns supreme there, and in PvP it's obviously still extremely, extremely strong as well. So, I mean, it's all good there. Oh yeah, they also bug the shades a whole bunch, so they require line of sight. So if you put a shade behind a tree and you walk behind the tree, you can't hit people behind the tree with your Scourge shades because it requires line of sight now, because memes. So that's kind of funny. But I don't know. I think I don't know. I think this is a bit of Necro in PvE. I think like the Necro main's just kind of, I don't know. I don't see it, man. I think it's not. It might not be strictly optimal. But then again, maybe
I think it needs a little. I think it needs more.
Maybe people are just a little bit spoiled by the opener of Path of Fire when Scourge was literally the most busted shit ever. It was top DPS on single target,
right?
But
But
triple shades.
It's more like, I think, just that like Scourge was for once in a really long time top DPS, and people were
right.
really
But it was because of a bug, not because it was designed.
I know, but they've just been neglected for so long that they probably, all the people whose hope had died over the years suddenly got hope again, then it got killed again. So.
I mean, I just think that's hilarious that the reason that it was top DPS was not because they intended to design it that way, but because there was a bug that made it better than it should have been. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I think there is some credence to the fact that it is kind of, it's risky to give top DPS to a class like Necro, right? Like all the damage is at range.
It is.
All
I think they
damage at
made
range.
like
It's really beefy. It's got the barrier. It's got the heals.
There are some fundamental mistakes being made to Necro, in my opinion. That it always has too many. Like it always has some kind of mechanic that makes it impossible for it to get too much DPS because it would just be broken, right? And in PvP, the shades are broken in PvP and World vs. World by default, just by the nature of what they do, right? So if you give them too much damage, it's going to be incredible. So you can never buff it too much because it will always have this one mechanic that will make it broken. Same for Reaper because it has a shroud. It basically has a I know that like you can't always be in shroud if you play a decent Necro, but you always have this option of being really beefy and survivable. But so if you made that top DPS and compete with an Ellie, it would always be unfair towards the Ellie. So you have to keep it low just because they give it mechanics that like make it impossible for them to give it too much damage because it has so many other capabilities.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Ellie, the Ellies of the world are feeling a little bit hard done by right now. People are not too happy with how Weaver actually works out in a non-benchmark environment. It seems that
How's that?
Well, I don't know. Like every Ellie I know just complains about Weaver all the time and says it's shit and terrible.
Well, half the wings, the bosses don't get weakness, so that's
that's pretty stupid.
I mean, when they fix that, then they'll be looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The bosses where Weaver's good. I mean, besides Mirage being bugged, the bosses where Weaver's good, it's the best. And if people aren't able to get good DPS on a Weaver on a big hitbox boss, it's probably more on them than on the class, because it's really good.
I can't confirm it's bad at all. I've had a lot of fun playing Weaver.
Wow.
I hate benchmarking it though, because there's a lot of RNG involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
And that's not. I don't know. That seems like a pretty bad point of design. I mean, what can you do about that, though? Do you think there's any way we can get rid of some of the RNG on Weaver? Is it even possible?
The only way I would see would be This is gonna get a lot of shit, but the only way to actually take out the RNG would be to basically make Meteor Shower a skill that just pulses damage, like a lava font, basically.
I suggest that.
Like giant lava font. No,
the actual hits would have nothing to do with the DPS. That's when you get rid of the RNG. No. There's no other way. It's always
you don't even need to change the animation. You just need to change the way in which damage is applied. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the meteors would at that point just be flavor.
I kind of actually like that. You don't like that, Teapot?
No, we can't just have more. We can't just have infinite pulsing fields. Meteor Shower is cool.
It's cool, but it's AIDS.
You have to make the hitbox. You have to make the hitbox of the boss so big that every single meteor hits, no matter what. That's what we need to do. There you go. So then it's basically the same thing, but it's also a cool meteor.
The thing is, I also like the fact that some skills have different interactions with the hitbox size. I think that's good. That gives you class diversity in rates.
Mm.
Like changing the hitbox of a boss already kind of implies what class will be good there. Like take Veil Guardian for example. Like, I mean not anymore, but Guardian used to be better there than Weaver because of the size of the hitbox, and then on different bosses, Weaver would take the lead again.
Does anybody? I'm sure that they probably don't, but does anybody post the range? Like since Weaver is RNG or Elementos in general tends to be, does anybody post like the low and high? Like obviously they post the high because they're RNGing until they can get good results, right? But does anybody post the general low of it?
Kitty.
I mean,
the low.
That's
the
not
very
on
low.
purpose. That's not on purpose, though. That's the thing. Yeah. Well, I think there's
Kitty dislikes that.
There's a few thousand variants in it, right? There's a few K. You can consistently get within a few thousand, I think. So yeah, so I it's not that bad. I mean,
the thing is, I mean, you usually when you Weaver benchmark, you usually get around the same numbers most of the time. But then there's that one guy on the internet that got 2K more than you, so everybody has to reach that, so they grind RNG. And then lately, actually, I've seen this on a lot of benchmark videos. People actually put the normal number into the description of their video and write, I grinded this, basically. And this is the number that you'd usually reach.
That's honest, at least. I prefer that to like going like anyone who doesn't hit this number sucks, and it's like their 10-hour grinded number.
Yeah. Still, I mean, the amount of time people waste on the Golem just to be top DPS. Much tough things.
You got to have those bragging rights, man. You got to show off. What's the point in playing the game if you're not going to show off that DPS?
Yeah, and we're back to the topic of big dick, right?
Yeah, big dick DPS. That's what it's all about. It's a massive internet pissing contest, of course.
Mirage currently has the biggest dick.
It does.
Wow. Does it?
Should we touch on that briefly? So, I mean, Weaver is still mostly the same. They gave Icepo the Meteor Shower treatment, so it's got an internal cooldown on it now, basically. They nerfed it a bit. They bopped it a little bit. But then again, Icepo is, I don't know. Is there a skill that's been more bullied than Icepo, actually, as a bit of an aside? Has any skill got wrecked harder than Icepo?
Different questions. Have bosses ever gotten wrecked as much by another skill than Icepo 4?
ice bow.
I don't know, fiery greatsword in its day.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
some damage.
yeah. I mean, that's the same class though, so that doesn't really kind of doesn't help.
Air
so much.
overload. Yeah, air
Oh,
overload has gotten
yeah,
fucked
air
more than
overload,
ice bow.
Yeah. They keep nerfing it every patch. It's like it's like the Necro Axe buff, right? They just nerf air overload every time. Although I guess they probably won't anymore. But
Yeah,
still.
but the beauty of ice bow was it gave fake DPS.
Yeah, fake DPS.
It's fake news.
Yeah. Why was it fake, Inks? Why was it fake?
Fake news. Fake. I mean, I don't need to. We don't have enough tea time for that. You can go watch
Yeah.
Nemesis's video on why it's fake news from years ago, from a long time ago.
A very long time ago. Yeah. Okay. But Mirage, guys, Mirage, and you say Mirage is bug Nike, but didn't they just fix the bugs and it kind of showed its true colors?
Well, I think they made the one skill hit more times on big hitbox, and I don't think it's supposed to necessarily do that. So it just goes, the DPS just goes crazy on a big hitbox.
Yeah, there have been some. I'm not sure if these are kind of some weird stuff with Arc, but I've seen some insane numbers on Condi Mirage, over 40k on some. Like I've seen a log that had something like a 45k on Can or something. I'm not sure how accurate that was. Though maybe it got really weird, but it's got a little bit out of control with Condi Mirage. It's maybe a little bit overpowered right now. It does quite a lot of damage. A lot of damage everywhere. But
I've seen a log on Cairn with the highest DPS I've ever seen in an actual raid.
Yeah.
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 Like I think it was like 45k or something.
Nice. How long do you think that'll be before that gets patched?
Tuesday.
Do you think so? Do you think they'll actually fix it, or are they just going to leave it?
Yeah, I think they're wise to that.
Yeah.
How good that is.
Yeah.
It's because they fix too many bugs at once, and then when you fix that many bugs at once, you don't even know what the finished product's going to look like. It's like a totally different build than before the patch.
Yeah, it is. It's well. Hey, at least it works how it's supposed to be, right? It's because Mirage is never supposed to be Phantasms, right? It's supposed to be a clone build, and now we have the clone build. Boom. There you go. It works. Works perfectly. Because you actually use those cool ambushes, man. And it is actually a cool. I haven't actually played it yet. I've seen a lot of people play it though. It looks like fun, man.
You better hurry up. You only got the Tuesday.
You use the dodge food, guys. You use the dodge food, man, for extra
Energy
dodges.
sigil.
An energy sigil, dude. Whoa.
They spiked though, didn't they? Like didn't the price spike really hard on energy sigils? I think somebody told me.
Of course, because everyone wants to play Condi Mirage because it does 45k DPS. You can kill any boss you want with Condi Mirage.
Does it actually use the sigil?
Yeah.
Does it actually?
I think so.
Because I haven't looked at the build.
You unironically use endurance regen food and energy sigil to get more dodges.
Wow.
What I like the energy sigil price spiking brings up a good point. Like raiders are supposedly like 4% of the community, yet when like one thing becomes good in raids, the price goes up like 100 times. Like how can 1,000 players be influencing the price of a sigil like that all by themselves? Like obviously I think it's a little bigger than what people are.
Because 40% of the community are like me and think that they want to raid, so they buy into it and then don't actually.
It's probably because Sam raids.
Is the community going to miss us, Nike, when all the raiding guilds quit and walk out?
Hey, we'll see what they announce when it's going to happen.
Yeah. Is this in relation to that little Twitter conversation you had, dude? I saw that.
Oh, I'm very salty.
Dude. I mean, I don't know. I wake up and what do I see? I see 20 Twitter notifications all pinging me as you just roasting people on Twitter, man. That's what I see. Arguing with people. That's what it is. So it's exciting. We live in exciting times. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are a lot of people who actually at least try to raid. Or want to play the builds, at least. Maybe they don't raid, they just want to play the builds. Because, I mean, I guess you could play them anyway. But then again, why would you unless you were going to raid?
I mean, Condi Mirage at Shaq Garant right now, that is best in slot open world DPS.
Whoa.
It is quite good.
Yeah. That actually sounds really strong. It's kind of interesting, though. I mean, I would really love to see the stats on how many people actually attempt raids, at least. You know? The raider adoption ticket. Yeah.
I just seen that.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder how many people actually do it. Because, it does seem that whenever something's good in raids, that maybe it could be market manipulators. Because we know there are a lot of those. We know there are a lot of market manipulators, evil market manipulators, who will use this knowledge for their evil ways. Yeah, stuff will always get changed.
All the scamajesties out there.
Yeah,
I think that there are a lot of people though that actually look at raid builds for open world too.
You think?
Well,
like I get a lot of
agree.
feedback from people. Like this is probably one of the whispers I get the most about our guides is, do you guys have an open world section?
Right.
And then I think people probably just go to, like, the answer is usually you can play whatever you want in open world, and all of these raid builds will work in open world, and then people might just take them anyway, buy the gear so that they can play it in open world just in case they will ever attempt raids so that they will have the right gear. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but
I mean, fair enough.
That seems right.
I don't think you're wrong. I think a lot of people, because they know that's a place to go between, that or meta battle or something, but they look up these builds and they just use it for everything rather than changing out or whatever.
Yeah. And you can definitely splatter everything in the open world with the raid builds. Let's be honest, man. They'll work.
I don't change my builds. Whatever I'm using in the raid just stays.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, what else have we got here? Well, yeah, you know what else? I want to kind of talk about. We didn't really finish Ranger, but you know what else is a Ranger? It's Soul Beast, and they've really brought the they nerfed a bunch of stuff. Some stuff. They nerfed a lot of the durations, the bleed durations on sharpening stones. Yeah, they nerfed Base Ranger, but they buffed Soul Beast. So Soul Beast is now stance share, right? You play the stance share build,
which
is so cool. It's awesome.
It's cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you like
I'm out of the loop.
It's kind of fun how like they nerfed most of Soul Beast, yet it comes out ahead of most of the other classes.
Yeah, it's like the third top DPS right now.
Yeah.
Pretty damn strong.
Yeah.
Because they I think a lot of that probably comes they halve the interval, right, on the stances that use the aggressive ones. So they took it down from half second to a quarter of a second. So you can get loads more of those, and they did nerf the durations there to kind of compensate for that.
And I think one of the big important changes they did was that they removed the 50% enemy HP aspect from the vulture stance.
Yeah.
Which was really annoying.
It was weird. Yeah.
As well. So like you can't really plan ahead in a fight with a skill like this. It's really weird. So that's definitely a really cool change. And I think they also increased the duration of I think they changed the trait, the stance share trait, so that you have increased stance duration now when you use it.
Yes, yeah, you get 50% extra. So yeah, so the allies still have 50% duration, but the stances last longer, and you quite a lot longer as well, actually.
Yeah,
another 50%. So they're actually pretty well. They last for ages when you place them on yourself. So yeah, I know it's cool. It's kind of interesting because it was already a pretty decent build. It was already a strong build, right? Before the patch, but now it's really strong, which is cool. Condi Ranger is back, boys. It's back in business. But I guess they turned down Bonfire and Sharpening Stone. So I don't know. I guess they just dislike base Rangers. Oh, they must be from Fabby server, dude. They hate base Rangers. But then again, I don't. Yeah.
Still, I'm kind of disappointed they didn't fix the bugs with the pet swap.
Oh yeah, I was expecting a huge amount of bug fixes because, as I understand it, there are quite a few problems with Soul Beast. Just some very weird bugs.
Yeah,
they just didn't get fixed.
I think the most annoying bug is still that your condis disappear when you pet swap. Basically, when your Lynx applies condis to the enemy and then you merge with it, then these condis they don't have stats to scale with anymore. So they basically just disappear. So he still has like 10 bleeding ticks, but they won't do damage anymore because they don't have anything to scale with anymore. So
that's intentional. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
But see, this would add so much play to the class if that wasn't the case. Like strategically pet swapping and stuff would be a lot of fun on Condi Soul Beast. But it isn't because of a bug, and they decided to destroy Grace of the Lands instead. So
yeah, wow.
If you could actually swap pets, Soul Beast might bring some CC to a raid group. Which
true. Or you play Warthog. Pick meta.
The Warthog, dude.
The best fucking pig in the game.
Zero can. Yeah, they didn't do that base range. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Nike.
If ArenaNet really wanted to troll, they could nerf Moa Signet, and no one would be able to ever break any break bars on any boss whatsoever. It would be fantastic. It would be amazing to see what that would do to the meta Like, that might be the most powerful skill in the meta, because it's the thing that allows us to play these completely 100% selfish DPS classes that don't CC. Like, not like the meta would be completely different if everyone had to bring like shitloads of CC for every break
because
bar.
Condirev doesn't even bring CC anymore, really, right?
Nothing does.
Very little,
Firebrand
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Soul
no,
Beast doesn't.
It was just
like,
pure damage, man. We're just pure damage.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, you don't need CC when you do that
We
much
put
damage.
everything on the Mesmer now, and like the one druid, the one
Yeah.
heal druid, and
We used to
everyone
be-
else is just DPS.
That's the whole point, right? I mean, you get carried by the support group. Like the support classes carry the DPS classes. That's how it works, right?
True, the Holo does do a bit of CC. What
Yeah.
Jebro says.
Yeah, Holosmith, yeah.
We
I
used to run Dragon Hunters a lot, but they got bopped a little bit as well. So
Yeah. Well, it's not so much that they got bopped. It's more like that Holosmith is just even better now, right?
yeah, I guess so.
They just made it a little bit better. It's got an extra modifier on the afterburner thing, right? Actually, no, we need
Dragon
to...
Hunter used to be really good though. Used to be a lot of fun to have Dragon Hunters in your squad.
I think it still is. I think it's still very, very strong. But I think, Holosmith, that's where it's really at. But anyway, just to kind of finish off all the stuff on Ranger, what have we forgot to mention, guys? Guys, it's spirits. Spirits, guys!
Oh yeah, that's a good
Spirits! And
That's a
actually,
good
I thought
one.
we could kind of talk a little bit about unique modifier wars 2 here for a little bit as well, just as to kind of get that topic done as well.
I kind of think that that's where all right, we're gonna finally give them the spirit changes, but we'll fuck Grace of the Lands in return. Like we're gonna
Well, I
give
think
guys that
they-
one, but we're gonna kill Grace of the Lands.
I think they go hand in hand. They made them 10 people so they could nerf Grace of the Land. Or, no, nerf it, change
Dude,
it,
the
whatever you want to call
spirits
it.
are insane now. They're
Yeah, well.
what the fuck? You Ranger mains, holy shit! It's like the bloody
it's crazy.
Necros, isn't it? It's like this is so good. I mean, Frost Spirit on 10 people is so good, dude. It's so
Really
good.
strong.
good.
But I
It's
have
so
a criticism about this, and that is still that I think it's a boring buff. It's not something that has any skill related to it. You don't have to be a good player to apply Frost Spirit. You had to be a good player to apply Grace of the Lands decently. So now the class just got dumbed down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think
That's my
the
downside.
spirits.
to it.
They're not particularly interesting. You just, I mean, with Druid, a lot of your abilities are just kind of you put them down and you wait for a while and then maybe you blow them up. If you need to reposition, you detonate
Exactly.
them. Right? Or
That's the
something like that.
only.
That's the
but that-
skill, the extra little piece of skill with the spirits, right? But
Speaking of Condi Druid, one point about that.
Okay.
So I was looking on Guild Wars 2 radar and looking at the stats to see like what builds like the community is actually using, and nobody's using Condi Druid.
Yeah,
back
I'm not
before that.
surprised at all.
Like-
I mean,
Like literally, there's probably like 6 guilds in the game that used Condi Druid, and literally everyone else played double heal Druid. Like
I
if you
wouldn't
look
tell
at
a
the Guild Wars 2
fucker.
radar for Deimos, like Condi Druids show up in like 2% of groups on Deimos. Like it's crazy, and all the bosses are like that. Like no one was using Condi Druid in the first place. So this, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't affect because it affects me, it affects everyone here, but the big part of the community, no one was using Condi Druid in the first place.
No, they took
Yeah.
the safer
Well,
bet.
I would even say that for at least 90% of groups, I would probably say that double healing Druid was the correct option, even.
Yeah, when you have people that just stand in AoEs and don't move.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the time, the issue is never going to be DPS. I mean, yeah, in some pug groups, yeah, the DPS is obviously a problem. But a lot of the time, it's just people... You can use the Magi Druids, well, Harrier now, to carry the newbies who tank all the mechanics, right? And Condi Druid is less effective at doing that. So that's why you would see that. So yeah, I mean, not a lot of people would really play
I
this, but-
wouldn't tell people to run Condi Druid in a puck, to be honest.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think
Dangerous.
that's a good idea. It's really fickle. It's really prone to mistake and like basically get knocked back by Gorzabel once or something, and basically your whole team loses might. So
Don't be
I wouldn't
noob.
tell them to run
That
it.
sounds like a learn to play issue, honestly, Roca. It really does.
Well, I guess it is. I
Yeah.
guess it is.
Yeah, on the 10 targets. So you might think, guys, I think there's a serious point here within this. You might think that wow, it's great. Now you only have to take one druid. instead of 2 druids, right? But the thing is that it arguably makes druid even better. I think it makes druid arguably more powerful than it was before, because now we're giving 25 might to 10 people. We're also giving spirits to 10 people, and that means we can also give vigor and protection and a bunch of healing to 10 people. So you can give a whole bunch of like supplementary supporty boons to 10 people because you run nature magic anyway, because heal druid is the best. And you're also healing them, so that's near. You could argue that's nearly as good as the chrono package, right? The package of stuff with alacrity, quickness, and distorts that the Mesmer has. There's a whole bunch of stuff that druid now has, except with druid you only need one of them to give that to 10 people. So what are we going to do about this, guys? I mean, do you just have to make the other healing classes also insane? Because right now, if you look at the other healers, they're not. They ain't druid.
Well, yeah, they're not druid. That's true. But what Up says is basically true. Like, puck groups finally have the opportunity to run a heal Ellie now, or a heal Rev without getting punished for it, like the DPS. You can, because puck groups used to run 2 heal specs, but those used to have to be druids. So now you only need 1 druid, so you can run other healing specs now.
So pugs have even more healing.
Yeah.
But it's something
Heal Ellie, man.
A lot of people wanted to play these builds.
Dude, and heal Rev right now is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
With
the energy change, right? The
yeah,
trait, it's very strong. Yeah.
Sucks for power Rev to lose equilibrium, but
yeah.
That needed a nerf.
Wow, that trait, dude. Wow, that I honestly feel so bad for a lot of PvP world versus world types. That was. Well, it had it coming in World vs. World, but that's kind of another story. But, ouch, man. That was a cool trait, and they just bopped it. They did replace it with something else, but you never take it because you need Roiling Mists, right? They replaced... It's in the same... The new Equilibrium is kind of in the same line as the crit trait, right? So you can't really take it. Feels bad. But yeah, Heal Rev... has anyone here played Minstrel Guard in raids? I feel like Minstrel Firebrand could be really good. I haven't played it. I know we did it. Well, it was being played as a bit of a meme. It was there as a elementalist babysitter for extra buffs for the arcane modifier, but I mean, it wasn't being played seriously. But I think Minstrel Guard, man, Minstrel Firebrand, World versus World style.
We're finally getting to
be
the
bringing
point
that power, dude.
Yeah.
If you want to carry like an honor, virtues, firebrand, mace, shield, Firebrand, that will just support so hard.
Exactly.
It'll pump out every boon. It'll have like Aegis spam. It'll have quickness spam. Like for pugs, like that is like the carriest build of all time.
Because it can block everything. It can heal for days. If your chrono sucks, you can give quickness. It's the new Pug Whisperer, boys. It's the new Pug build. And it's Minstrel, so you can tank as well. Oh my god. You can completely carry the whole raid. Amazing. That would be sick. I need to try that actually. And you can get you can get so many healing modifiers as well, man. It's so good because you can if you have Minstrel, you have loads of vitality for force of will.
Oh, and the Minstrel Firebrand will also stack 25 might on its group in case you don't have a druid.
Oh yeah, because you have might as well. It's the best. It's the best build in the game. So it's the best build in the game, and you can do protection, and you can do vigor. You can do everything.
Teapot's very excited.
Dude, Minstrel Guardian. It's the new build. If you want to kill raids, right? Dude, guys.
Can we talk about mounts now, please?
Wait. No, we still got more classes.
What are you talking about? We haven't talked about all the classes.
We haven't even talked about Nike's favorite warrior.
Oh,
warrior.
Sounds good.
Well, I think we better put this to Nike actually, because honestly, how do you feel about warrior? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Do you feel buffed or nerfed?
All right, so I feel buffed because I hated, like, just from OCD purposes, absolutely hated having like gimped gear and gimped food just for the purpose of stacking might. Like I didn't mind the might stacking roll if it just happened, but the fact is you had to like run this weird ass food and run a strength sigil, and it just felt so wrong to do. And now you get to run actual DPS gear. Yeah, your utility skills are kind of jacked having two banners, but it's a small price to pay to have the right gear. I think. I really like it. The only time I feel bad is when you have both banners and Wild Blow because you need the CC because it just that's when it feels kind of bad. When you can get Shattering Blow in there, it feels fine. But when you have to have Wild Blow, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
But man, it's just so nice having DPS gear and not having like an aristocracy set.
Yeah.
Much better.
Kind of on the topic again of the unique modifiers, right? Having two kind of fixed slots for just plus stats. I don't know. Is that it's not interesting? It doesn't really do anything. It just sit there and give you stats. It kind of like with banners. With spirits, right? I mean, is that something we want to still have in the game? I mean, it's kind of doing things a bit of a shame just to have these two skills on two classes that are basically fixed, and you can't really get rid of them with spirits.
Right, but
and banners.
what's the solution? Just give them a passive.
The solution is 7 Weaver. Nerf banners and then have 7 Weavers at KC.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I don't know. I mean, nerf banners and then buff warrior DPS to like 33k. I guess it's fine. Whatever. But then everyone else.
It's a curious thing, because this is what I was talking about with unique modifier wars too, right? It seems like a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the party composition, although it looks like it's a bit more free, I mean, it's really not, right? You still want to have all these mods, right? Even though you only want one druid, but still, you still want the spirits. You only want one warrior, but you still want the banners. Yeah, of course.
Right?
See,
have you guys had the fights yet? Oh, hold on, let me finish. Have you guys had the fights yet where it's like, I want the spotter in my group. No, I want the EA in my group. I want the AP in my group, and everyone's like arguing about how the squad should be set up. Like, I kind of like that. Like, I like that there's like that. Well, at least now EA and spotter aren't something you can guarantee to have every time. You're only going to have them 50% of the time. So there's like a lot of thought that can go into min-maxing. Where it's like, okay, we have Dragon Hunters or we have Holosmiths, so they don't need spotter because they have 100% without it. So we can put the spotter in the other group with whoever. I think there's a lot of cool stuff with that.
It also makes benchmarking really weird. It's like you don't really know. Can I really count on this buff? Can I really imagine what not having spotter would do to an Ellie? That would basically change your build. So
yeah.
What do I benchmark on? Do I run an accuracy sigil? Do I not run an accuracy sigil? What build am I running? So everybody just uses spotter anyway, and then in case they don't have it, they'll basically run the wrong build.
I suppose.
So, I think that's a little bit weird. I always dislike when you can't really count on something. That's what I liked about the mirror comp so much. It's like you always have alacrity, you always have quickness, you always have these buffs. So you can...
Very consistent.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of makes it easier to work with and makes it a little bit weird. Not terrible, it's not horrible, it's not like you can't do benchmarks anymore, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But what you're saying, all the unique buffs, I don't think it's a problem that we have unique buffs. I think the problem is the way we apply these unique buffs. If your unique buff requires you to press 5 and place a banner somewhere, then I think that's a pretty shitty unique buff. If your unique buff requires you to run an intricate rotation, then I think that's a good unique buff. And I wouldn't have any problem running a lot of classes with those.
So I think the real question is how could we redesign these skills in order to have some kind of actual skill level to them, as opposed to you press the button and you let it go and you see the nice little pulsing thingy.
I have an idea. Maybe add a buff to Druid's Celestial Avatar abilities that will give a percentage damage increase to your teammates when they get hit by it. That would be a good idea in my opinion.
Whenever Warrior uses a burst skill, it gives the Discipline banner buff out. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta laugh about this stuff, right? I think that's an intrinsic design problem with something like banners, really. Because I mean, what could you possibly do to a banner how could you have some kind of interaction with a banner to actually make it give a buff, right? You have to run around it in a circle and tap it or something, and that it projects the AoE or something.
If you made it like a kit, that like you equipped and then you used one of the skills on the kit to give out the buff every 15 seconds or something like that, then it would be part of your rotation. But
Yeah, I think if they made the banner
Like a
active
conjure.
skills a little bit more,
You have to pick it up and use it to actually apply the buff.
oh,
man.
that would feel
we
so
did
bad.
that.
Oh man.
That would feel so bad.
You know, that would actually not. You could already think that would be good for some situations. For example, you could use them to give Fury to groups, because that's a little bit clunky now that you only run one Druid and you don't run the Shout anymore in Warrior. So people thought about that. We have used it when we did our Scovel. We used it to apply swiftness at the beginning of a fight, because that is now a modifier for Weavers. So stuff like that, you know. I didn't think it was particularly bad.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's
that's
a lot more
definitely
gameplay
possibility.
to it than just having it sit there and pump out a buff.
And if they streamlined it a bit, maybe if they made it so there's no pickup animation or something, so you can do it a lot quicker. You can kind of just grab it instead of picking it up, right? And you know, quite a little bit of it sluggish on that. If they streamline the gameplay, they could maybe make that work and add a little bit of depth to it instead of it just being a pulsing. I mean, yeah. I think that would make a lot of Ellies really happy, because god damn it, dude, like the pickup animations on Conjure.
How many times have I used my Burning Retreat when I tried to pick up an ice bow?
Dude, I've heard people rage over this. Like, I've been in raid groups where people have, like, because the FGS took a little bit longer to pick up, just rage for the rest of the fight. Actual rage, actual hatred.
It can fuck up your rotation pretty badly, though. It can.
Yeah.
Like, have a little bit of a delay, suddenly your ice bow is gone or something.
Yeah, because for some weird reason they made them only last 30 seconds. I don't really know why they did that.
It was a weird change.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that would be kind of interesting thing. And you know, guys, we could talk about spirits and how they could do that. I mean, do you have any immediate ideas on what they could give some kind of cool interaction to spirits to make them good?
They could make the activating of them. Like, they activate and you get a bit of a bonus. They could make the activating a little bit better.
Yeah, I guess that would be.
Yeah, so it would be
something
worth
that
to activate them then.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't see how it would be ever worth to activate your Frost Spirit.
Well, the current implementation is terrible. Like, it should do something else. Like,
What if?
Like, if it was like if it gave like a 20% DPS buff for like 5 seconds or something, and then you don't have the 7% buff for like 10 seconds or something, maybe.
So you have to coordinate it with when you're kind of bursting a little bit, and that'll be kind of
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
a
that
little
would
bit
be
of depth to it.
something I could imagine, I guess.
What
make
if
it like
spirits?
assassin signet on.
Yeah.
What if spirits were all changed instead of the way they are, and have it so that you consume one spirit that has the different abilities, and you need to choose to use them before the timer runs out or whatever.
You mean that
So
one
like a-
spirit would
so like
consume the
a,
other and turn into a new one?
No, just have the spirits be a single utility that you use, just like you would use the astral form, and have the different abilities be on there. You know, have the frost spirit give the damage bonus and so forth, rather than have them be static things to just sit on the ground. Make it so that you have to pick it up like a kit and use it. Consume the spirit.
Eat the spirit. Just take a bite.
Just take a little bite.
Yeah.
Just a little whiff.
Sorry, say again, Roca.
That sounded like you wanted to make them into banners, basically.
Yeah.
Enable people to pick them up, have skills apply to them.
Yeah, but you wouldn't really put it back down. It would just consume it.
Oh,
Right.
okay, I see.
Yeah. It wouldn't place anything on the ground. It would just be a skill you use that transforms your bar.
Imagine that, man. No, I just had kind of another slightly modified area of that. So like, you put the spirit down, and it kind of spews out orbs, and people have to collect the orbs, and it gives them a 10%. Imagine if it was like that. Oh man, that would make people rage. That would be great, actually. Imagine the competition, like all the Ellies trying to pick up all the frost spirit orbs to steal everyone else's damage modifier.
Like the idea of picking up spirits and throwing them at enemies.
Yeah, you pick up the spirit, just throw it, and it explodes.
But also kind of what Frost says, you don't have to make every passive skill into a kid. Some passive skills are fine. I think passives aren't a necessarily bad thing. Just keep it to, like, don't overdo it.
There's too many passives in the game, though, I feel like. I don't know.
That's the problem. It's not that passives are bad generally. It's just that too many of them are boring.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to spirits and banners now.
And
Yeah.
dark
And also the various stat modifiers right there. Various stat modifiers.
Yeah, and those are kind of give or take at this point. Like, I mean, you can live without EA. It's not the end of the world. You can live without Spotter. People are doing it.
Dark Decrophia says it sounds like I'm describing orders from Guild Wars 1, and yeah, sort of.
Yeah, orders is something that I've always wanted for Necroman.
I don't get why they haven't done that yet. What are they saving that for? It's like such obvious design space.
I kind of thought, well, Reapers could do that, right? And I thought, oh, but then they added Shouts. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Again, very selfish. Unfortunately, it didn't really do anything. And I thought, fine, Scourge. They're doing a support class. That means they're adding orders, right? But then no, okay, they're adding. Again, very selfish.
Maybe I guess in a game well, I was gonna say with full healers, maybe it would make like the whole sacrificing your health meaningless. But I mean, I guess that's kind of already. I mean, it was kind of meaningless in Guild Wars 1 too, since you just got heal party to put you back up to full. But I don't know. I still think if they should do it, the next Necro Elite spec should have orders.
Yeah. Well, they could have used Life Force instead of health if they didn't want to do that. They could have made the whole Life Force mechanic be basic. You could have your utility skills use Life Force as well, as opposed to just the Shroud skills. In addition to that, but still, right? It is what it is. But going back to, I think we talked a lot about the unique modifiers. Going back to Warrior for a little bit. Now, I'm pretty sure the axe buffs are mostly aimed at PvP, and to try and, I think mostly anyway, trying to make axe a really cool weapon. Like throw axe, dude. Throw axe is such a funny ability, man. Throw axe is so hilarious, man. If you're under 25% health, it just does double damage randomly. So you just throw this tiny axe at someone, and it just executes them, just chops their head off or something, just one shots them. Well, not one shot. So it's oh man, like the axe buffs are really really cool.
Axe 2 hits hard as fuck now, even in PvE. Yeah. If you play. The one cool thing is, in a lot of fractals, Power Warrior is actually it's the last place where it's still decent, like especially lower level ones. Like starting your rotation off with Axe 2 and then swapping to Greatsword, that's really good opener because it puts out a shit ton of vol and hits really hard.
So the question I would have then for you, Nike, as the warrior player of the podcast,
as the warrior,
is Power Warrior ever coming back, or is it still completely dead and buried?
Next elite spec, when we got pistol Power Warrior, get ready.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be a high DPS power spec.
I can see the Lord videos already.
Calling it now. So, I mean, what weapons left for Warrior? Staff or pistol? That's basically it. So
you could be monks with a staff.
Honestly, I think
Power
Inks might be right on that, man.
We're going to Cantha. We are going to Cantha.
Yeah.
What if Cantha is high tech and this is some futuristic shit that we're gonna get to see? Because they've been closed off to the world. What if they had a scientific craziness going on?
Or they're the only class to get land spear and everybody cries rivers of tears.
What if Cantha has a really advanced culture, but their low birth rate is because everyone's a weeb there.
Oh.
And they all and no one's reproducing. It's gonna be really ugly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be basically Japan. It's gonna be Japan.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think the next elite spec for Warrior will do it because
Power Warrior.
Because you need the weapons themselves to do damage, and Greatsword doesn't do any damage, and Axe auto attack is terrible. So I don't know how you would fix it any other way.
I mean, it's quite interesting because what do you think of? Well, what do you think of the physical change? Right, they made peak performance. Now give you a 33%.
They made the Power Warrior rotation even more complicated. In addition to having to dodge once every 10 seconds, you also have to use kick.
Yeah, to get the modifier
rotationally. Yeah. It's oh my god, make us jump through another hoop, make the rotation more complicated, the one that people weren't doing anyway.
But do you view that as a sign that they're trying to bring it back a little bit? Bring Power PS back as an option? Power Warrior more like as
I think not having to have tactics is really good for Power Warrior because it means that they can put more power into the discipline trait line or the arms trait line for power and make it good, but still it's going to come down to the Axe auto attack.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's got to be.
Do you think they need to do a bit of trait shuffling? Because I believe Berserker's power is in the same trait line as the Axe trait, right? If I recall.
Axe trait got moved to discipline.
Ah, okay. No, I'm completely wrong then. So I know you can have both then, right? You can still have both of those.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that can still kind of work out. So, do you know how much damage it actually does? How well how well does it stack up versus
with
Condi
losing?
Warrior?
I think like last patch we tried to make Power Warrior work, and it was like 24k DPS. So it probably lost 10% from Grace of the Land, and then probably gained like 20%. So maybe it's back up to like 25k. I don't know.
It's still not going to cut it.
No. Not going to do it.
Well, I mean, it's a step in the right direction, though. I suppose.
Yeah.
They're at least thinking it's on their radar, right? It's on their radar, and yeah, they did finally nerf phalanx strength, kind of as a side note. They reduced the duration by a third, right? So, ouch. That's do you think that's kind of an odd change to make? When
it's weird because now powerful synergy makes as much might as phalanx strength for your group. Like if you hit the fire fields with your longbow 3, you actually make more might with powerful synergy in the long run.
Yeah, it's an interesting change though that they wanted to make the might stacking require more of a dedication to boon duration, I guess, if you want to use phalanx strength. But it's weird that they do that, but they also have stuff in the game that does really easy 10 target might. I guess it's because of how much
they really wanted Drew to be good.
I guess they just wanted Warrior out of that role because they thought banners, I guess, were good enough to give Warrior a spot.
Well, do you think it's maybe because they wanted to allow it as the 5-man option, right? They wanted to allow that as the higher DPS option. For example, you could use a Deadeye to stack might, for example, which is kind of another thing we kind of need to talk about a little bit. Deadeye, because Deadeye can stack 25 might on 10 people as well, right? But it does shit DPS. So you could either run one Deadeye, for example. I'm just going to ignore Druid. Druid doesn't exist right now. Fuck Druid. It's trash.
I'll be AFK for a little bit.
But so you could either run 2 warriors, one in each subgroup, going crazy, doing nice deep DPS, because it does, Connie Warrior does, even if you do dedicate a little bit to boon duration, it does reasonable damage. You could either have that, or you could have one Deadeye doing terrible damage, but it stacks might on 10 people. And also a bunch of other boons as well. Deadeye stacks various AoE boons, I believe, because of the steel skills and with the cantrips. I don't know, I can't actually remember which ones, but I think it's pretty much all of them, actually. Because you get one boon for everything, for every class, and you can cycle through them with all the cantrips. So if you get good RNG, you can get boons for days on your Deadeye, dude. And then
you gotta go full Seraphs for max boon duration, and then use Trickery so that you share bountiful theft. Ooh. So you got and then Venom share. So you have Venoms, Seraph's gear, boons everywhere.
Yeah,
that's a build.
That's a build.
That's a boots. That's a boots build
bad
all
build.
Day.
Where's Boots at?
Yeah. It's well, I mean, there's actually something really funny about Boots bad builds. Actually, you know the Holosmith one. They basically made that really good right now. Actually,
the dodge.
Yeah. The dodge. They made it do loads more power damage actually, which is kind of an interesting choice. But this is a bit of a segue, guys. But damn, they made. I think quite a lot of Holosmiths right now are running kind of the Dodge Master Holosmith right now. It just dodges and does loads of damage to people, I think. Or at least people are experimenting with it. I've seen some people experiment with it, and not just plebs, not just Boots bad builds. Although he predicted the meta, man. He predicted it. He was so ahead of his time. Dodge Master Holosmith, Boots predicted it, and then ArenaNet put it in, man. They put it in the game because they love that build so much.
They watch his videos and I'm like, this seems like a great idea. I think we'll make this a reality.
Oh man, this is really good. This is really good. And they put it in the game. I think the thief changes are interesting, and this kind of goes back to all the way at the start when I was talking about how they're looking to use generic roles, right? And they want to make Deadeye the might stack. It turns out that Deadeye is, well, I don't know. I've just assumed it's bad because it was bad before, but who knows? Maybe it actually in some kind of configuration, maybe it kind of works. Suppose you shuffled around the classes completely, and you kind of had the spirits on a soul beast or something. You had the spirits on a soul beast, and you have a heal Rev or something, or a heal Ellie, and you have the might stacking on the Thief, and you shuffle all these classes around, and maybe it kind of works out okay as well. And honestly, it probably does, but it might not be as good as Druid. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much everything can clear rage, right? But
yeah,
Sure,
that doesn't
sure.
make it all good.
yeah. But what I was trying to get at there, to a certain extent, is that I can see now alternate compositions where you could stack the same modifiers, but maybe you do less damage. Right? I can see different ways of stacking everything up on the classes without being so strict in what you have to use if you want to get that optimal. There's optimal buffs, right? If you know, there are other ways you can get you can get your healing and spirits now. There are other ways you can get your might on 25 people. You don't have to use 2 warriors. You could use, you know, you could use a Deadeye, or you could use some Firebrands. Because again, like Firebrand, if you use some Firebrands, you could stack might on those things, but you can also do quickness. So then you can. I mean, you'd be a fool to do this, but I mean, you could drop the Mesmers and run Firebrands instead, right? And get the Alacrity from heal revs or some weird stuff like that. I don't know.
You sound like DeRoyer. You're reaching a little bit there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what would have made Deadeye good? At one point in development, supposedly, Deadeye had a trait that made it so that your marked target took 10% more damage from the whole raid. So it was like a unique buff. You mark the target, and then everyone does 10% more damage to it because it's like exposed or something like that. But it was only up. It was like the glyph on Druid. It would only be up for a little bit, so you had to burst with it. I think that would have like put Deadeye, if like that trait with Deadeye making might would have put it in a pretty good spot, because you'd have like this great bursty modifier and the ability to make might. I don't know. It seems pretty good, as long as it didn't impact the damage.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing too, is like Deadeye is giving up a shit ton of personal DPS to make that might.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot. Whereas Druid gives up nothing. It's not like Druid loses healing ability to make the might. Like,
quite the opposite. I mean, the whole
point, In fact, thanks to Harrier's gear, it's gaining healing ability and makes the might. So certain things, and like in the same way where, compared to like Revenant makes it could make enough Alacrity, but it gives up way too much DPS to do it compared to Chrono.
Yeah.
So they value it really highly they value different buffs highly on certain classes, and they don't value them as much on others.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's possible though. I'm saying there's a chance. It's theoretically possible.
I want healing rev to be a thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I want it to be a thing.
Ventari boys. Yeah.
All I gotta do is nerf distortion share, and healing rev is a thing.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now. Because you only need. You could have Chrono in one squad that gives Alacrity to his squad, healing rev and Firebrand in the other.
Yeah.
It would be a thing.
Yeah.
If distortion share didn't exist.
I don't know, dude. If you remove distortion, how many people in the game would quit immediately, though, because the game would become unplayable? That's the question I have to ask.
Those people were all already going to quit because there's no new raids.
I would hate not having distorts, though. I think this is one of these things that people ask for now, and they're going to cry about it as soon as it happens. It's like grind. People hated meta events and grind, and now PRF doesn't have them, and they all cry about it. I think it will majorly suck to not have distorts anymore.
Yeah. It might happen, but it's going to hurt when it does. It
just means that we're just stuck with 2 Chronos forever. And I mean,
to be honest, you don't need distorts on every boss. There are bosses already where if the Revenant Guardian Quickness Alacrity thing was a thing, then there would be bosses where you could play them over the Chronomancers. But that plays into this whole thing, different setups for different classes. So I think that's fine. I think it's cool to have different setups for different classes.
Yeah. I think the main concern is that it will just remove a certain level of skill from Mesmer. If they nerf distortion share, because it's pretty much as we know from the Nike APM post, basically do fuck all on Mesmer if you're not distorting stuff. Like, all you're doing is well, you use all the abilities, then you wait till they're off cooldown, and you do it again.
To be honest, Mesmer is pretty easy if you don't distort.
If you're not the tank, also, it's even easier.
If you're off.
If you're like second Mesmer and your entire job is to do quickness, it's not hard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you just sit there. And
I'm
you
a shit Mesmer.
You don't really do that much, but I mean, the distortion is a big part of it. I mean, they could put that in if they made it just apply Aegis instead. They could make it a block. I've talked with someone about this at great length, actually. Some guy talked to me off stream about how he wants to remove all unique modifiers from classes and just replace them with boons. I don't know, that sounds kind of Resident Sleeper to me, but still, you know, that is a way you could do it. You could just make it block stuff, which would be kind of cool. It would serve the same function sometimes. So it would work on Gorseval, as long as the ads don't kind of troll you. It would kind of work on... It wouldn't work on VG, right? It wouldn't work on VG.
No.
You could do it on... You could drop a precog, right, on Demos if you were really clever about it. You could just use that to block the... for the CM or something. You could use it to block the ultimate attack, Mind Crush. You know, you can kind of see where this goes, right? You could always... it would apply some places, but not always. And I guess it would make it easier to design around. Although the devs have proved they can design around around distortion, which you can't distort some stuff. So they know what to do. They know how to do it. But yeah, they might just bop it, man. Because if it's just Aegis, then what do we have? What do we have that applies all of Aegis? I'll tell you what.
Minstrel Guard.
Minstrel Guard. Minstrel Firebrand. Minstrel Firebrand, guys. And I just want to, moving on to Firebrand. I just want to shed a little tear, man. Like, why did they nerf Firebrand, dude? Why?
Because they knew that you loved it.
Why did they do it? We're doing the mount talk later. Be patient, guys. Come on, we're talking about balance here. Guys, come on, we're talking about balance. But damn it, man. Why?
I have no idea, quite
Why?
frankly. I don't
Why,
know.
Roca? Why did you do this? Why?
Why did I do this?
I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me.
I always wished for them to kind of nerf the only DPS capabilities of Firebrand, because I kind of want Firebrand. This is just what I would like to see, and I'm not the one to decide any of this, but I would like to see Firebrand as the quickness alternative to Chrono. So I think if there was to be like an offensive quickness build for Firebrand, like compared to PS Warrior maybe, that would do quickness and it would still be like somewhat okay DPS. If you do like an intricate rotation right again, then I think that would be pretty cool. And I think what would be really good if would be basically if the full DPS Firebrand wouldn't be as good anymore, but the quickness DPS Firebrand would still be all right. So
sure, you got a nerf distortion
maybe
for that to be a
yeah,
thing.
Yeah. It's completely right. Yeah, it's completely right.
Not really, probably not something they achieved in this patch or something, but maybe. Then again, maybe they thought they had achieved it with it. They just didn't know any better. I don't know.
The thing is as well, right? They're lining it up, dude. They buffed the range on all the mantras, and I want to personally thank whoever was responsible for this. Balance designer at ArenaNet, thank you so much for buffing the mantras, man. They're so much better to use now, and they look way cooler as well. You have giant spews of color now. That's really cool. Good job on that. That was nice. That was a good buff. I like that. Good job. But also, what this means is it's much easier to hit everyone in your group with the block, right? And that's the new Distort, except it's really easy version of Distort, I have to say. ArenaNet, what are you trying to do here? You trying to make this game easy mode? First you do Harrier Druid, now you're gonna make Guardian be able to block everything really easily with the mantra? Okay. Because instant cast Aegis, but I guess you have to aim it a bit. But you know, I don't know. It's gonna be good, man. But they bopped the damage, man. They nerfed Quickfire again. Did it? It only does one stack now, but they did reduce the cooldown. They've normalized all the cooldowns of the proc traits to 8 seconds, but it's less damage, man. Like, even grieving isn't enough to say. Just think how far we've fallen, guys. Like Firebrand originally did 50k DPS, and now it's down to about 30k DPS or something. Well, it's like it's above 30. I know it's above 30, but I don't know exactly what it is.
It's like error overload.
It's been bullied, man. They just leave Firebrand alone, man. I love that class. It's really fun to play. Well, maybe
you
it's
think
because
50k was reasonable? That's reasonable DPS.
I think it actually might kind of suffer from Necro syndrome, in the fact that they don't want it to do damage and have all this really cool utility on it as well. and it's not. I don't think it's as strong as Necro in the utility department, right? But the fact that you have these other 2 tomes that do very powerful effects, maybe that's kind of restricting what they are willing to kind of put onto Firebrand in terms of DPS. But it's hard to say, honestly.
Probably really good in Pugs, where now that we have 1 Druid, you have another slot that can be for whatever healer, and you could make a Firebrand quickness healer.
Thing.
Pugs never have enough quickness because the Mesmers are doing whatever.
They're pressing various buttons.
Yeah, not using Continuum Split for the entire fight.
Yeah, that happens. That happens in places where you wouldn't quite expect. But I don't know. It sucks to be Firebrand. Well, I don't know. There's not much to say. They just nerfed it. And they didn't. And you know what's really weird? Actually, this is what surprised me. I know we're all PvE guys here, but why didn't they nerf Firebrand? Why did they not nerf Firebrand in PvP and World vs. World? Firebrand is fucking busted, dude. Firebrand is busted. It's still there. It's still crazy, and they didn't even touch it even a bit. Actually, no, ArenaNet, don't nerf it. I like it how it is, please. I massively enjoy Firebrand because of how powerful it feels in World versus World, and you know the same would apply in PvP, right? I mean, your role is very similar.
Well, World vs. World really didn't change.
Not at all.
Did it?
Not at all. Oh, the only thing they changed is the Spellbreaker bubble, which I forgot to mention when we were talking about Warrior. It's brown if it's the enemy, so you can. I mean,
well, that's nice.
It's good. You can see the whole world in a different color before you're instantly evaporated by the bubble. So I mean,
unless you're colorblind, and then
there's that.
They made it brown, and has whole Discord gone crazy about that already?
It's well,
color choice.
I don't know. It's a funny color. I don't know. I think it is actually good. You can.
Why did
mock
they make
the
it red like the Harpies?
I don't know, dude. Like, you mock the color choice all you want, but it actually does make it really visible. It does make it really visible.
Well,
You can tell immediately. If you see that enemy bubble, you know. And I guess they wanted to keep the same color scheme of that kind of yellow glow for the Warrior. That color scheme, so they didn't want to make it red, I suppose. But it's very obvious. I think they've done a good job there, and you can know not to die. But yeah, I don't know. Feels Firebrand, man. It's still there. It's still really good. It's not that good in PvE though. Feels bad. Oh well.
Going back to Scourge for a second, the change to the barrier decay.
Yeah.
Where it takes a little bit longer before it starts decaying, but then
yeah.
decays faster. I think that's much better because you can use it a little bit more predictively. Like if you knew you were gonna miss the green at VG, the Necro can save everyone with this heal.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I like it has more play to it. I think
it's surprisingly useful actually as well, right? It's better than you'd expect, I suppose, right?
Yeah, because before you were kind of just encouraged to just spam as much barrier as you could as often as you could if you wanted to be useful with barrier, because there was no play to it. It was just spam as much as you can, and now it's more tactical, in that you can have it for key moments.
Yeah,
and use it that way. So I like it. I like it better that way.
We I suppose we've got to push this to the limit with the fact that we more to do no greens VG. It's basically what we did with the 10 Scourges. We would just use the barrier every time there was a green, and it worked mostly. It worked out pretty well actually. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, if you had a full healer, like not a Necro full healer, but if you had like an actual Harrier Druid, and you just made sure that the Necros saved their heal for every green, that would be perfectly fine. You'd get topped off.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah.
No problem.
Well, I mean, it kind of worked out with 2 Necro healers as well, man. Like, with Well of Blood. Oh man, that's funny.
So you're saying remove Distort so we can finally have a use for Scourge?
Oh, dude, imagine if Distort Shed just gave barrier. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh man, it grants distortion to you, because I don't think they should remove distortion as a mechanic. But what if they made it apply lesser distortion, which is just a damage absorption to allies? ArenaNet, please no, don't do that.
Speaking of barrier, and speaking of the second healer slot that's now open in Pugs,
okay.
Tempest with Earth Shield spamming barriers is fucking sick heals.
Yeah?
You can carry so hard with that. Because, I mean, like, you just put barrier on everyone, and then they eat the Hadouken like Pugs do, and And then you just overload water, and bam, everyone's back to full. No problem. Doesn't matter.
Earthshield is
that build got even better at carrying because
It's
now
some real
Earthshield
cool
does
changes on
stuff.
Earthshield. It's some cool changes on Earthshield. It doesn't give you more. They also tried to make it more like a Condi weapon as well, right? They because the more barrier you have, the more bleeds it applies as well, which is kind of funny. But it applies so much barrier as well, just all the time. It's hilarious. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Let's see. Do we have any more classes to talk about? Wait, what do we miss? Oh, we didn't really talk about Rev that much. They just nerfed it a bit. They nerfed Condi Rev a bit, but not that
Still
much.
great.
It's still really
it's
good.
alright.
Still really good. They shuffled some traits around. They got rid of Equilibrium, blah, 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 blah. Removed some Condi. They changed some traits that were kind of shitty. There was like a stupid-ass 30-second cooldown trait. They changed it to like a Power Rev trait, but, Power Rev is terrible. Don't play that. That's one of the... I'll tell you what, guys. I'm a kind of guy who says you can pretty much play whatever you want in raids, right? Don't play Power Rev. Ever.
Wow.
No.
I'm being excluded.
Don't do it.
That's pretty toxic.
Okay? It's bad.
Feels like Ranger in World vs. World.
Yeah.
Not allowed to play.
Yeah? Just don't. Just stop. Because if you think it's a good idea, it's not.
Actually, has Soul Beast found a way into World vs. World now with the stat
With the
share?
stance,
Oh!
yeah.
We
Changes?
didn't, we didn't talk
Right
about that,
now?
but no. That's
You can roam.
a big problem with that is actually Firebrand though. I actually think that if Firebrand if it wasn't so range focused as it is now, where you can't really kind of get at people very easily, I think Soul Beast would be quite a lot better. Because if you're kind of going for a push, I actually think Soul Beast could be quite strong. If Soul Beast, if you could actually melee properly, but right now, Firebrand is king. There's no dethroning it. There's not enough support. There's not enough support on the Soul Beast. I think there's actually potential for it because we have, for example, something that's really good in World versus World is area AOE resistance, right? And you have there's that whole archetype that allows you to give AOE healing, AOE resistance. So I think there is definitely potential to see kind of that frontline Soul Beast build. With the stance share, but the stance share and the pet abilities, the beast abilities, but I think it's not quite enough right now. It's not quite enough. The cooldowns are way too long, and the duration is not the stability uptime isn't good enough. Although I have to say the unique modifiers on the stances are really cool and are definitely have some kind of they have potential, right? They can definitely be made to work. So yeah.
Maybe I should do World vs. World with you guys again.
Wait a few patches, man, and you'll be there. But you can just play Firebrand, dude, or Scourge. Yeah.
Wait 8 months. You'll be right there.
Honestly, I'm tempted to call it
That's
now,
what
man.
I test
Like,
Scourges when they ask me if they can raid with me.
Dude, seriously, man. I give it 6 months, and I think Soul Beast honestly might be a thing. Frontline Soul Beast might be a thing in World versus World. A few patches down, we might have something we can work with. Honestly,
6 months from now, TeaTime, I'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this.
What leaked raid footage? Let's see. What is this? It's not. I mean, it's obviously not that, but 30 new mount skins, opening one. What the fuck? That's not a raid.
There's one more little thing I'd like to touch on this whole topic of how the balance changes the setups, and that's how I think that it's not very beginner friendly what they've done. Basically, they have removed a Druid spot and a PS Warrior spot, right? Which is now filled by a DPS slot. And also they made the Druid gear a lot less accessible for new players. Because it's usually... Magi Druid was like the easiest thing, pretty much, to start on raids with. And this might sound mean now, but I believe that it's true. But a lot of teams kind of pushed their weaker players into playing Magi Druid. So now, and this is actually something that people have confirmed to me. I kind of talked about this on another occasion on stream. And people have confirmed this to me, that this is in fact true. That a lot of teams used to have their weaker players play Heal Druid, and now they have to learn they basically have to learn DPS classes, and they're totally lost on it, and they have a lot of trouble to get these people used to playing DPS classes now. So a lot of, yeah.
Get good, man. Get good. Stop being trash.
But basically, you removed a class that's like introductory to a raid, and
I think you could still run Magi's. You just have to have concentration sigil for 100% sure. Like it'll make enough might. Like
I mean, if you only run concentration, then you have what, like 50% narration?
Yeah, you'd have to also use that food, the peppermint oil.
Yeah, then you'd have what, like 55%? That's like the same as Condy buff druid, and that's rather fickle.
But since you camp CA in a heal druid as opposed to using it rotationally,
yeah,
the might would be a bit more.
I mean, yeah, it is easier to get into your CA when you have a Magi, but still, it's something that people have confirmed to me. I think it's a little bit, yeah. The irony I see is that they keep nerfing things to make it. The argument is always we have to make raids accessible to people. We have to make raids accessible to people so they can't be hard. We can't have challenge modes because it all has to be accessible to the casual player base. You're shaking your head, but I've actually talked to this like face to face with Mike Z, and he told me that like that's one of the points why they don't make challenge modes repeatable is that it's so hard for new players to get into them, and it's so weird that now this setup is kind of I don't know, a little bit less accessible.
I'm not sure if I totally agree with that though, because we have.
I mean, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
The AMA like contradicted that because they said in the AMA that this is for constructed groups. This is for like this content is the hardest in the game. It's made for static groups. Not only that, but what does repeatable CMs have to do with not letting people get into raids?
I got a little bit off track. Maybe I did get a little bit off track.
Not only that, but and I know that
it's
not a thing anymore, but Power Rev was like the easiest class to play in the world. Like, I don't know, man.
Also, I want to say something about Druid. No one plays Druid in open world. So you go to these big meta events like Shaq Garrett, and there's no might anymore because all the PS warriors aren't making might. No one there makes might, so we need more people to play Druid in the open world. Please, please, players. Help us all out.
I mean, if they really cared about making raids more accessible to everybody, they would add a difficulty scaling. They would add an easy mode. Yeah. That would probably
have there been rumors about this?
I mean, there have been rumors about that, but maybe that's what's taken so long. It's just super weird to me because they had said at one point, we're not going to be making difficulty tiers for raids, right? But then there's this conversation that you're talking about where it's like, well, we want them to be more accessible to everybody. And I don't blame them for that. I mean, why wouldn't ArenaNet want all of the content to be more accessible to everybody? They want people to play all of the content so that they get less burnt out and there's things for them to do. And if they did just a raid release, which it doesn't look like they're doing this time around, but they have in the past, then maybe there would be less complaints about, well, there was nothing in this patch for me, guys. I don't raid. But
on the kind of the entry level for people, I think there are really easy DPS classes you can play as well, though, right? I mean, you can play stuff like, well, Condy Mirage, man. I mean, you can play stuff like. I mean, you could even argue that Warrior is an easy class to get into. I mean, but to master it, you have to There's a little bit of there's intricacy to executing the Warrior rotation, but just to play it to an acceptable level is very easy, right? And you could play like off tank Chrono is a really easy way to get into it as well. Like all you have to do is basically just mash the buttons and you're good to go. Because again, they nerfed the difficulty of that. They made it considerably easier to play. The off tank Chrono, and then you have stuff like Holosmith, right? I mean, a Dragon Hunter as well, really easy, a pretty easy class to get into if you want an easy DPS to get into. Again, Holosmith, not a particularly challenging class to get into, and even Firebrand, right? Firebrand isn't difficult to particularly difficult to play. You can have something like Scourge. You can take a few hits on Scourge. I don't think just because of getting rid of like one of the heal spots is really screwing over the newer players, because I think they're still pretty easy roles to play.
It's more like there's a lot of casual groups out there where the casual raid groups, they always have one or two players that are not as invested in it. And I know a lot of groups like this, basically. And
Sure.
And they always have these 2 or 3 players that don't want to try hard DPS, and they always have the 2 or 3 players that want to try hard DPS. And now the 2 or 3 people kind of have to do the try hard DPS thing. And I agree with you. I think all these classes are rather easy to play, but I've seen a lot of people tell me that they don't think so, or that they that they do struggle with these classes. I don't know. I guess it's just something I wanted to throw out there, that it's a little bit. It seemed to me, I got the feedback that a bunch of teams seem to struggle with these changes because of that reason. Maybe it's really just a learn to play issue.
I think it is. I think it's time for people to get good. Stop being trash. Come on.
Then you have the other side of the coin of experienced teams where it's like, okay, who's going to be the second PS warrior? And like, Discord is completely silent. And then it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to assign it to somebody if no one wants to step up.
Everyone
I hate the fact that
DPS.
I hate the fact that every team has a lot of, like, Druid is not that hard to replace, really. Like, people, like, the guilds usually have a fair amount of Druids, but nobody has a fair amount of Mesmas, and there's just the same amount of Chronomancers required in a raid.
Warrior mains, it's PS War, it's a Mesmas for life, man. Like, once you're a Chrono, you're locked in. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. There's no escape.
A lot of Chronos thought POF was going to be their escape, that they were going to get to like fly off on the Firebrand starship, but it didn't happen.
Nope.
Well, maybe just make this torch 10 men.
Oh.
Whoa! Think about it. Then we've
That's 200 IQ.
Then we've got 700. Then we've got 7 DPS classes, man. 7 DPS classes. Then that's just another one.
Oh my gosh.
But then I guess you need to make Alacrity and Distorts 10 man. Boom. There we go. Solved. So the Chrono provides quickness for its group, and you have to run a Firebrand in the other. But then you've got just three support core. 10 man Distorts, yo.
Easy.
Bring back Old Soul.
You know what would be really funny? That would actually be so damn good in Warverse as well, actually 10 man Distorts. That would be so good. But never mind. Yeah, that would actually be sick. Remove Alacrity from the game. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's see. Is that all there is about the classes? I think we kind of went over everything, dude. This is pretty hype. This is pretty exciting.
So now the real show begins?
Yeah. Well, just okay. One more thing. Like, I know this looks like I'm kind of memeing it, but there is actually a really important topic that I think is really important to cover in actually these times of balance that we find ourselves in, and that is the frequency of balancing, guys. Okay, the frequency of balancing, because it's been a while. Okay, it's been a while. There was some kind of busted stuff that's been floating around. And it did, some of it did get patched. Like, well, most notably in PvP, actually. Like, they took a fucking sledgehammer to Warrior, which is really funny to me. I mean, damn, dude, like, there's probably a lot of salt there. Like, wrecked all the stances, wrecked all the resistance uptime. Fucking deleted, boys. And, you know, various other things. They just did some other stuff. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, how are we gonna, what are we gonna do about all the stuff that's currently crazy? And it's probably going to remain crazy for 3 months, right? Like, it's probably going to be actually 3 months of Conde Mirage, man. So, how can we make it work within the schedule of ArenaNet to get more balance passes through? Do we need more balance passes through? I guess that's the bit of an initial question, right? Do we need more frequent balance for all of the game modes? Is it okay to kind of leave it like this?
I think it's okay to have a big quarterly balance patch, but then you got to follow it up with like a smaller
Fixes.
monthly one, or even bi-weekly small ones to just tune it.
Yep.
Like, you can have like big shakeups once a quarter, but then have tuning patches for the every other week or so.
Yeah, more like hot fixes, I guess. Like, Conde Mirage is out of hand now. Basically, make it balanced next week. But I wouldn't ask for like monthly balance patches or anything. I think that would be horrible. I think that would be terrible. Because just the amount of benchmarking we had to do this balance patch. I don't want that next month. I want 2 or 3 months of a break before I go to the golem again.
I don't think it's bad if they're fixing bugs or problems that arise from the large shakeups. Whenever they do a large shakeup, inevitably there's always bugs or unforeseen problems that come along with it every single time. And the problem right now is that they exist for 3 or more months and they're just there. And then people get used to playing it, and then when they do get around to fixing it, it's like, oh my god, why did you nerf my class, ArenaNet? You hate my class. You hate me. I hate your game. You know, people go crazy, right? Because you only get it once every 3 months. So I do think, like, you know, every month or every month and a half or something like that, you know, they should come through and fix the little bugs and fix the little tweaks or whatever that need addressing.
Yeah. And I hope that we do see more of that, because I think it is necessary. It's necessary in any game that has, well, any MMO really. It's just necessary. You can't allow stuff that's, especially in PvP and World versus World, I would say. And I think it's really disappointing. For example, really great example of this. Path of Corruption is still bugged. It's been bugged since Tuesday. I'm sorry, that's not really okay. You know, that's not okay. To have a skill that is already amazing, like Scourge is already a very, very dominant class right now in these competitive gamers, to have it being basically twice as good as it should be, no, stop. Especially in PvP, right? Like, you know, haha, XD, no one cares about World versus World. But come on, man, like, Scourge is already obnoxious and, you know, very obnoxious to play against. Like, why is it still in the game? Get rid of it, maybe. But I bet, like, someone's going to tell me, Teapot, they already patched that, buddy. But I don't think they did, but I don't know. It was definitely there yesterday for sure, but never mind. It's too good. Why is it there? No, it's not intended rep. Of course it's not intended rep. It's not okay, and stuff like this needs to be fixed quickly. And the thing is, you have these bugs that kind of lie there, you know, just lie there, and they don't get patched. I mean, it just seems to linger on forever and ever and ever, man. It's just, it's not good. And we need to see some more frequency. And ArenaNet, I implore you, listen. You have literally an army of spreadsheet warriors and balance testers at your disposal, guys. We're here. Well, I don't do this fucking spreadsheets, but ask the nerds. Get the nerds. Come on. They're there. They know everything about the game. They know things that no one except them knows about the game. Okay? You can use them. Use them to your advantage, and they'll help you out. And the player base is there to help. But you know, if anything, right? Even if you don't want to use the players, right? Just try some stuff. Just try and tweak some stuff. Just play around a little bit. Maybe just tell us about your thoughts. Tell us about how you're thinking about the game. Like, maybe we were thinking about maybe addressing this trait or this weapon skill or this utility skill. Just tell us about that, and then we can give feedback or something. Let's see if we can get something going here to get some more frequent balancing. It doesn't have to be major. You know, very little tweaks. Obviously, I'm very aware of ArenaNet's desire to keep the game consistent during the PvP seasons, right? The PvP seasons. And that's fair. I actually get that. That actually makes a lot of sense. You want to keep the game vaguely the same throughout the whole season, obviously, to keep it, well, I guess, fair and consistent. But, you know, I think it's fine to adjust a few things that are considered to be particularly egregious, right? But I don't know. I think that's a big thing, because I think people get frustrated, especially in PvP. I would say especially in PvP and World versus World, people get a little disenfranchised with the game when they're playing the same meta and it's one that they perceive to be pissing them off like the entire time, or one that they feel is screwing them over a lot. And obviously, there's always going to be balance complaints, guys. Okay, listen, look, everyone complains, man. Everyone complains about every class. I mean, let's look at the Necros, dude. Look at the fucking Necros. I bet if you go on the Necromancer forums in Guild Wars 2, you can probably find people complaining about how bad Scourge is in World versus World and PvP. You can probably find people like that. I mean, they're wrong, but still, right? It's just
you're wrong.
Also, don't go to the Necro forums if you value your sanity and health. It's just a bad idea. Really bad idea.
Yeah, a big problem. Yeah, I mean, again, we're using very old examples here, so they're not particularly relevant anymore. But look at the Chrono Bunker build. Look how long that was around for, man. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? I don't understand. It's just it's stupid. I don't know. There are some weird decisions with how the balancing and it's just you need to speed it up. You need to speed it up.
A little bit.
Yeah. A little bit, but yeah, that's kind of the rant. That's the ArenaNet balancing rant. We need some little tweaks. We need some little tweaks to keep the game fresh, to keep the game moving a little bit, keep it exciting. Anyway, you guys got any thoughts on that before we get to the only real topic, the only good topic of this podcast that anyone wants to listen to? I know you guys are only here for this. Okay, what's coming up next? I know.
Teapot's he's been stringing you along this whole time. Yeah. He knows.
Yeah, man. Any kind of
this is the topic that we all lose our ArenaNet partnership.
Yeah, we're about to get Brazil, dude. It's about to happen.
Is that the term for it? Brazil?
Yeah. So is that it then? Mount time?
Mount time, I guess.
Are we all just kind of done with the whole the balancing topic? Okay, right then. I'll tell you what. I think the returning king, the returning god of podcasts, MMO INKS, MMO INKS, my friends. Okay, the god. He's back. He's back in business. Okay, and what do I see on his YouTube channel? I see a 40-minute video addressing MMO's response.
Wow.
Okay, a 40-minute video, right? And that is why I would like you to start us off on this topic. Roast, go.
Well, I'm not sure how much Teapot and Nike actually care about this topic. Roca, I'm not sure. But I think my first video was probably 20 minutes long or so. And then the response with Mo is twice the length because, it's a response that you're sort of picking apart, which I don't know. It's funny. He says in his letter that it's a polarizing subject, and it really is, right? Because you've got people who really don't care about it or who are fine with it, and then you have people who are extremely critical about it, to some extent, like overbearingly so critical about it. And I don't know. It's interesting, right? If you read any of the comments on any of the videos, not just mine, but it's full of a mixture where people either completely hate ArenaNet for doing it, or people are like, yeah, no, I love the system, or I just don't care. I don't care about the system because it's a mountain. Who gives a shit? Am I becoming WP? I don't think so. I don't think so. But my basis has always been that I am not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of any game, not just ArenaNet, but I'm not a fan of any game that uses these loot boxes. And I understand they're prevalent. I understand it's become this industry standard. I understand that microtransactions don't actually mean micro anymore, and it means any amount they fucking want to charge. I understand all of those things, but that doesn't mean that I'm pro gambling, even though I'm a gambling addict. Like, literally can't help myself. Now I haven't bought any of the licensing. I've really restrained myself from buying any of them. But somebody on Reddit today posted the odds of you getting, depending on how many skins you want. Like, if you only want 4 skins or 5 skins, the odds are kind of terrible. And there's a lot of arguments out there that sort of go into detail about, is it really gambling because you can eventually just get them all? You can eventually just get all the ones you want, guys.
Well, that's
not
Mo's
really
position.
gambling.
That's what Mo said. He
right.
said you work towards it.
Don't worry about it. It's long term. It's not gambling. You'll get them all. You get all the Pokemon. It's not gambling. You eventually get all of them. It's still gambling. It doesn't matter because not everybody's going to want all of them. Some people only want 1 or 2. And the system is designed so that the 1 or 2 that you want, that you pay your $5 and you pay your $5 and you keep feeding it money until you get the one that you want. That's kind of how it works. Anybody who says that any gambling system plays it until they hit big, and then a true addict just keeps going because they can't fucking help themselves. It's like, oh, I won $100. I'm bound to win 1,000. How could this possibly go wrong? I'll just keep pulling that handle until I have no money and I'm fucking broke and destitute. And loot boxes are not nearly that bad. And this system is better than, say, Black Lion chests. You can argue whether it's worse or better than die kits, for example. But, I mean, technically die kits have a stopping point as well. You just need to gamble enough times to get all of the dies. But then die kits are sellable in the trading post, and these mounts are account bound. So the systems are sort of not exact good comparisons. You know, it's just this thing. And I think there's a lot of people, even when Halloween, what really kills me about this is when Halloween skins came out and they were sold as a bundle. 1,600, 2,000 gems, but hey, first day discount, we're going to discount it right away to 1,600, so that's fine. And people were like, yeah, okay, but I only want one of them. I only like springers. I only like fucking bunnies. I only like griffins. Whatever. They only want to buy one or two, right? So they don't want to spend $20 buying all of them on mounts they're never going to use. And they told ArenaNet, look, I'm not spending any money, but I would have if you let me buy a single one. And ArenaNet's like, oh, guys, we got a great response. We have the best follow-up to this. 30 mounts, gamble away. Go for it. It's cheap. It's cheaper. Just gamble away. And then, of course, they said, we did give you an individual amount. That one's 2K, but that's special, so that's a different topic anyway.
What I feel bad about them is this obviously wasn't like this loot box thing wasn't like an idea they came up with a week ago and they like rushed it into the game. Like this was probably something that they've been working on since before POF. So
absolutely,
like all those skins did not just materialize. Like the artists have been working on them. They knew exactly what it was going to be for months. And I don't know. It comes off a little odd that there was a lot of foresight and forethought, and probably they had a lot of meetings.
And that's what killed me about it.
Because how could they not have seen it come? The blowback coming. They must have had multiple meetings about what's the community going to say? Oh, what are the sales going to be? What are we going to lose? Like they misjudged it at very least. Whatever they thought the reaction from the community was going to be, they grossly misjudged it. Like,
and what I love about it too is I was watching WP the other day and somebody sent him a contract, and so he until this time he didn't watch any videos on it or whatever, I suppose. And so he opens the contract and a special UI window comes up.
Woohoo!
And it makes a special noise sound. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. They made a special UI and a noise sound for it. Of course they did, because this was planned while Path of Fire was still in production. This wasn't like, oh, we'll just quickly add this, just snap our fingers and it's done. Of course not. It was designed ahead of time. And if you think for a second that they weren't going to add on top of that 30 for the same set, you're delusional. Because they were going to add another 10, 20, 30, and keep building the RNG up because it's awesome. It's awesome money, guys. Just keep gambling. It's great. It's fun times. Oh, my God. I hit the freaking Corgi mount, whatever the fuck it is. Yes, jackpot. I love this. Let's gamble more. I need my cosmic mount. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Of course they design it this way. Is to maximize profit. And that's really the part that I dislike about it. The part that other people don't like is they keep telling ArenaNet, we just want to buy one mount. Let me just buy a single mount for a reasonable price, and I'll be happy. You'll get some money from me. But Mo had a response. Oh boy, did he ever have a response. And that's what the second video is about. And the response was basically, we listened to your feedback. You guys are all wrong. And here's why you're wrong, because these are the benefits. These are all the benefits that none of you delusional people are seeing, and this is why RNG gambling is good for you. And here are the reasons. But we're not going to add to the first set anymore. And in the next couple of releases, you're going to get bundles and single mounts because we listened to your feedback.
It was one of those apologies where it's I'm sorry you feel that way rather than I'm sorry that we did it. Yeah. We're sorry that you're outraged, but that's your problem. Deal with it, sort of thing.
Well, and what kills me is he lists the missteps. Not a mistake. It's a misstep. Whoa, hey, oh. Misstep. Dodge. Got out of the way of that one.
Whoa.
Well, they're a young startup. Then this is their first game that they've ever made, and they're brand new to the thing. So simple business mistakes they're inevitable.
A small indie company, right? They're a small indie company. Yeah.
It's like
the thing about the missteps is it's like I don't know. I am not an economist. I didn't go to school for economy. I don't have a business degree, and I could have seen these missteps coming from 50 miles, like months away. I could have sat in that meeting, and I'm sure some people did, right? I can't imagine that you have a meeting of some sort, and I don't know who makes these decisions. We have no idea.
A Korean man with an NCSoft ID badge sitting in the corner makes those decisions, guarantee you.
I can't imagine that anybody had a meeting about this and didn't say, this is not going to go over well, guys. And these are the reasons, which is exactly what Mo listed of why people are sort of upset about it. These are just some of the reasons why people are upset. I can't imagine those didn't come up in conversation. And they decided, we're going to gamble ourselves. We're going to buy our own gamble contract, and we're going to roll the dice and see how it goes. And what really is funny and interesting about all of this stuff is if they would have released this differently, if they only released 10 skins instead of 30, they bamboozle you into it. They get you because there's less outrage over 10 or so over 30 that they release at a single time, because it reduces the gamble chance that you're taking. And if they take it a step further and say, well, you can just gamble on Raptors, or you can just gamble on Griffins, then that increases your odds even better, and people fall for the better odds on the gamble. So if they just drip these out, if they just feed you little bits of mounts, a little bit of Raptors, a little bit of Griffin,
bit of Raptor meat, a little bit of Raptor.
Yeah, a little bit of bunny. Here's a little bit of bunny. It's good for you. If they just feed you little bits at a time, there's very little backlash. Only from idiots like me who hate gambling. There's very little backlash across the board from this if they just feed you little bits at a time.
Here's the thing, though. I think Twitch is right, man. I think Twitch chat is right. I honestly think that the vast majority of people just don't give a shit. I think they're so used to the loot boxes that I think it's a very vocal minority of people who are actually raging about this.
The people who are raging are the ones who want the Celestial Griffin, and they goddamn want it so bad that they're willing to kill their moms to get the goddamn Celestial Griffin. And they can't have it because they don't have 2,000 gold to trade for gems. Like,
I'm guilty. I'm one of these people.
You either like I personally don't want the Celestial Griffin. I don't care about it, so it doesn't bother me that much. But if I was like, oh my god, the Celestial Griffin's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the universe, it would probably piss me off a little bit more.
Well, see, if the only content you play is Griffin races in this game, then if that's the only content we have right now, so of course I want the Griffin skin. Of course I want it. I'm doing Griffin races every day. I rate once a week. Of course I want the Griffin, the Griffin
I don't know.
Skin.
Wouldn't you much rather have a Griffin skin that actually had some kind of prestige to it, though?
There's a raid coming, boys.
There's not going to be mountain skins, right? And I actually think this I've talked on stream multiple times about this. This is one of the reasons why people are so pissed off about this, because everyone knows it. We ain't getting mount skins anywhere else except the gem store.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
that was always going to be the case. The difference here is they've shown you that they saved up all these mounts and released 30 of them at once instead of dripping it out.
Like, each new Living Story map could have their own mount skin. Could have one skin.
It could.
A themed,
but that's not.
Some of these mount skins are really basic too. Some of these mount skins you could easily. I don't think they took that much development time. If all you did is change the skin pattern a little bit.
That's the thing, right? That's how you design a loot box, right? It's like like all the shit in the CS:GO gambling. It's like you get the items of various rarity. That they've done that, but it's only implicit, right? They've put that in there. Like, there's some kind of crappy ones that are just we retextured this one XD 400 gems, right? And then there's ones, whoa, you got cool lightning on this one, dude. Stuff like that. Whoa, this one's on fire. Some crazy stuff like that. Whoa, this one's made out of stars. Holy shit, guys, give me your money. And honestly, I have a massive problem with it.
They could do little things, though. I don't know. I would be fine if, I don't know.
I just don't really...
If they added a circus raid and you can get a bunny with a little hat or something, I still think that would be fun. I would still want to get it and play it on a trolley character and dye it pink. I would do that. You know what I mean? You could still put in like little basic things that don't take a lot of development time and put them in the game.
Yeah. Also, another big triggering is that the die slots thing, man. The die slots thing. Yeah, this is a big trigger. This was another massive trigger point. It was like the floodgates open, man. This is what really pissed people off about this as well. There's only one die skin, right? In your normal mount. So now people view it as you're also like paying to even be able to dye it as well. You know, like that's also really hacked people off, because that was a really requested feature, to be able to have more control over the color of the mount. And then they add it in the paid ones, right? And so we know they can do it, but they just basically chose not to, right? And that also pissed people off as well. Although, I mean, I just want to say this. This might be apparent, but I'm not particularly bothered, honestly. I mean, you could definitely. I think there is definitely I think it would be difficult to argue against the fact that it's very expensive, and that is fair. To get the one you want, it's probably really expensive. But you're paying for a lot of skins to get the exact one you want. But I mean, I don't think it's really too bad. I mean, the 400.
Somebody did the math. If you like, I think I should pull the chart up. But if you like 5 of the skins, then you're paying on average about 2K per skin when you gamble. The odds are you're going to pay about 2K per skin. And people don't want to pay 2K per skin. Even if that's the standard in World of Warcraft or BDO or any other game you want to mention, this is about knowing your audience and knowing how much they want to pay. And they don't want to. They've told you before that they don't want to pay 2K on the large. And yet,
well, here's the thing too. They have to price them if they make the price 400 gems and let you buy whichever one you want, people will just happily trade 200 gold or whatever it is, or 150 gold for the one they want and go about their business. ArenaNet doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
ArenaNet wants to sell gems. So you sell gems by making the gold so expensively ludicrous to trade your gold in that you have to break out the credit card. And that, I mean, I can't fault them for that. They're in business to make money. It's amazing that they give you the option to even trade gold for gems.
I think it's
that's part of the problem that we're having. That's part of the problem that they've had with the gem store since inception, is because of that trading gems to gold and what that actually does to their bottom line. And not only that, but this whole mount thing, it comes down to more than just the mounts and RNG. I think for a lot of vocal people that you're going to see on Reddit or the forums that pay attention to those things or comment on videos, for example, or are active on Twitter and so forth, social media. I think a lot of those players tend to consume content generally speaking, much faster than most people. And Path of Fire, for as awesome as I like the story, for as beautiful as the maps are, it doesn't have a whole ton of replayability as far as getting particular rewards and so forth. And so people go back to playing Heart of Thorns. They're playing the same raid since February. We've only had 3 fractals in 2 years that are brand new. And people are getting to this tipping point where a brand new expansion has launched. They've burned through the content. And I know it sounds ridiculous, right? Because we just got the expansion. But they're already ready and waiting for the next thing. They want a new raid. They want a new fractal. They want new endgame content. And they want a new story to continue. And it's a bit of a shame, because I think Arena is actually working pretty hard as far as story goes. It might be a different story for raids, but I think people are just bored and they're sort of sitting around antsy, and then Arena asks you for money and you're like, well, I'm willing to give you a little bit of money for an individual skin, but now you want me to gamble? How dare you ask me to gamble extra money away when you're not providing me content? And I know that sounds a bit ludicrous to some people who are going to be in chat, but I think deep down that's how a number of people feel about it. They're getting to a boiling tipping point where they're like, I want more stuff to do. I'm bored. And I'm not giving you money unless I have more stuff to do.
Yeah. I think that's an understandable point of anger, right? I mean, that we are still waiting for that kind of content patch after the expansion, and then just like being hit by all these juicy gem store memes is triggering people. And the thing, but I do think people have been spectacularly uncharitable to ArenaNet, and honestly, I was just so disappointed in like how ridiculously far the community took this. And listen, like I'll happily flame ArenaNet. I'm not much of a paid shill, guys. Okay, but I mean, come on, guys. Like, we took this a little bit too far. It's fucking mount skins, dude. Like, do we really care about this? I mean, yeah, it's expensive, but honestly, like the 2K one, fuck that. That's like 20. That's like the same cost as the expansion. I mean, god damn it, man. We had Blackline keys since launch. Like, if you compare the bullshit on Blackline keys to the bullshit of this mount adoption license, like the license is way better than that. Seriously, fuck Blackline keys. Dude,
no one here has ever gotten anything good out of a Blackline key except maybe INKS.
Pre-Path of Fire. When I was seriously, the amount of gold I wasted on fucking and money actually, I wasted on fucking Blackline keys, dude, before the expansion, to get those stupid boosters.
You and those stupid boosters.
Those stupid boosters. I don't even.
They got you. They got you, Teapot.
Oh man. Yeah. Wait.
Well, and then here's the other thing too. They said that the next few releases were going to be individual sales and bundles, which we'll see. We'll see how that balances out. But they're going to try RNG again at some point. They're going to put it in Black Lion chests, or they're going to make a set 2 a year from now, or something. They'll try something to improve it and try it again because it's a good moneymaker. And what's funny to me is all this outrage. If they just would have designed it a little bit differently, if they would have released it at a slightly different time, if they wait for Living Story Season 4 to come out and release this at the same time, there's less backlash and there's less toxicity from people about it, because they're so concerned with like actual content to play that they don't pay attention to this quite as much. But because there is this void right now, and I'm not even saying it's a long drought or anything, but because there's this temporary void, and it's a balance patch that I think only a portion of the player base really concerns himself with as far as testing and so forth goes, they're just like, you want me to gamble? What is that? Look at these awesome skins. Look at the cosmic skin in my... Just add fire to a mount. Look at all these awesome skins. You want me to gamble? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
And anytime one of these controversies gains steam in the community, you're going to get the out of proportion, overreactive people that tell people to kill themselves, and everybody should be fired. Fire everybody. You're all fired.
Get them out.
Donald Trump, the whole company. You can't. It gets ridiculous, obviously, but it's funny. I was in LA and I seen people having this conversation, and some guy was going on about. He was like, these things are overpriced. I hate to gamble. He was giving all his reasons why he doesn't like to gamble. And at least 7 or 8 people responded with like, go fuck yourself. ArenaNet needs money. Buy them now. Look at my shiny mount. And 3 or 4 Cosmic Griffin. I wish I was recording. 3 or 4 Cosmic Griffins start to like surround the guy and like show off their special mounts. And the one guy's like, "Are you jealous? Look at this!" And he's jumping up and down on his fire bunny, and
but
it was...
let's be real here. That is a true statement. That is a true statement, guys.
They do need money.
They do need money to fund their game and to make the content that we want. And bear in mind, guys, again, we've already talked about this. The gem store is kind of crippled by how you can just buy stuff by grinding the game as well, and you can get gold pretty easily as well. Like, gold isn't that hard to get if you know what you're doing, right? So like there are plenty of players in, I would say, the more, well, I guess actually I suppose that's kind of irrelevant, because I was going to say in the more hardcore community you can just grind gold and just buy stuff on the gem store. But honestly, like, this game is fucking casual. So I'll tell you what, guys, I guarantee you they've made a fucking killing on this.
Oh,
okay?
tons.
I'm just gonna say it, man. I guarantee
boatload full.
The 90% of people who don't care about this and actually probably maybe even find it a little bit fun to gamble a bit, motherfucker, ArenaNet have made bank off this. This is fun, guys. This is funding Wing 6. Okay?
Tons.
Buy those fucking mount skins. But I mean, don't if you don't want to. I don't even think they're that good. But never mind. They need the fucking cash, dude. Lootbox RNG is not the only possible way to sustain a business model, for fuck's sake. I actually think that it's very difficult. Like, I mean, how because of the way you can just kind of get stuff really easily, it's pretty difficult, dude, for them to actually do this.
I don't. I know it's become this standard and people sort of just accept it. But like you said, Teapot, And people constantly sort of bring up this. Well, you can just grind gold. It's only 120 gold or 130 gold. That's easy to make. I can make that in like a day or 2 days, whatever it is. But I think the massive ArenaNet's audience doesn't make 130 gold every 2 days or every week or whatever, because I don't think they're doing the content that necessarily pays out in large sums. So yes, that exists, and yes, they're going to lose money from people doing that, absolutely. But there's going to be a ton of people out there who don't have that gold, will break out the credit card to buy these things, and they're going to gamble because they want the skin. Even people who are opposed to the system, like, oh, I don't really like gambling, but I really like that cosmic skin, so I'm willing to buy 10 or 15 of these things just to see if I get it, right?
I don't know. I'm a sucker for certain things. If they introduce 2 more shared inventory slots on Tuesday, I'm buying them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would
the credit card's coming out.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I mean, increase. How many bags can we have now? Bag slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We can have 11. Oh, let's put that up to 15. See, like these are easy. That's easy money.
They've realized, that they've realized. And honestly, fine. Whatever, guys. I kind of agree. Yes, this is kind of a mildly shitty business practice. Okay, it is a mildly shitty business practice indeed.
ArenaNet's not the only one who does it, mind you.
Well, of course, no. This is industry standard, man. This is industry standard.
Yeah,
everyone does this shit. But yeah, I mean, and milking customers is horrible. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, this is a little bit. It is a bit unpleasant, but I don't think it's as bad as that. I mean, it's not as bad as like motherfucker. For some reason, the community took it upon itself to try and like get Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet just eviscerated by the gaming media. I mean, whoa! It got reported everywhere, man. We got big YouTubers doing stuff on this. Guys, come on.
These people need to find out what ESO is like these days. Yeah. Go take a look at their gem shop.
It's just calm it down.
I think I understand that, and I think this comes back to a discussion too about. I kept seeing people saying, "Well, World of Warcraft has charged $25 for mounts forever." That's just the standard. That's just what people expect, and that's probably true if you're used to those games. But I feel like people flock to Guild Wars 2 for a variety of quality of life reasons, and the gem store, generally speaking, is fairly low cost and generous on the prices that they usually give. So when they do ask for $25 for an item, or they do ask you to gamble, people freak out because they're not necessarily always used to those things, regardless of how often it happens in other games or other things. And that's about knowing your audience and where you can push the envelope.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, every time ANET does anything in this game, the answer is always these people going, "Well, I left WoW to get away from this, and now it's following me here." It's like the same thing we heard with raids, with fractal challenge modes. They marketed the game to a certain audience, and I'm not going to use the word to describe the audience. And now that audience gets pissed about every single thing that they do to make the game better, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well,
and I see a lot of people, saying it's not an excuse not to pay the devs. They bought the expansion. They did pay the devs. I mean, Mo in his thing even said he made a point. It's funny because as much as people hate his post, I love the words he chose. He was very careful in choosing particular words, which is interesting to me. But he even says in his letter, this is optional. What was it? Optional purchases or optional gem store, whatever. Right? He made sure to get that word optional in there. And it is true. It is optional. He's not misleading or misdirecting you in any way. But he wanted to make sure and reinforce that it's optional. And I think that's interesting because people will echo that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and again, maybe I apologize to dear viewers if I'm coming off as a bit disconnected from the actual issue here, but I don't really care, man. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it doesn't really bother me, but it really doesn't. I mean, I don't really give a shit, dude. I don't see how the mount is even something I would really want. I mean, if you know,
Yeah, I wasn't the least bit tempted, and it doesn't really bother me that it's there. Like,
What
I just look at it as
me?
yet another thing on the gem store that I don't want, like all the outfits. I don't want all the outfits on the gem store. I don't care about outfits.
Just wait for that gamble.
I would never buy an outfit ever. But I don't care that they're there. I don't think, because there's a lot of people that do care about outfits that are like, oh my god, outfits are the worst because that means they're not developing armor, and armor is what they should be developing, and outfits are the worst. I don't care about outfits because I'm not gonna buy one. It doesn't affect me at all. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just I feel the exact same way. Like I'm not going to buy this mount skin anyway. So I agree with you. It just doesn't bother me.
I wouldn't care if there was something we could get in game. I think I guess that boils down to the whole old gem store thing as well. You know, just there's no equivalent cool in-game reward that I can work towards. Everything is pretty much gem store. I don't think there's currently any skin in the game that I would... maybe legendaries, but I don't really care about legendaries that much. But I would like to have, I don't know, like an open world event chain, whatever, a meta event, a raid, a dungeon reward, something I can play towards that like has some value like that. Except it all being behind the gem store.
I've actually seen a few people make similar comparisons to this. I wish your next CPU purchase is an RNG box for $600 and you get a fucking Pentium 4 processor. Like,
However,
no, this is such a terrible.
Teapot,
this is such a horrible comparison. Man.
Yeah, it is a horrible comparison, but there is such a thing as RNG for your CPU.
Well, I mean, yeah,
100%.
There is, 100%. Yeah, like some CPUs you won't be able to push as far, 100%. So there is already a little bit of RNG. So,
oh my God, Jay's 2 cents got 5 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Why the fuck can't I get 5 gigahertz? I only got 4.9.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, like, the mount has no effect. I mean,
look at Hearthstone. It's the actual game is RNG. Like the basic to play the game is RNG loot boxes. And you buy packs of cards. It's RNG loot boxes. Yeah. And that's what it takes to play the game.
In fairness, Hearthstone
at the basic level.
Kind of bullshit, right? Hearthstone is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, Hearthstone's a cash grab.
I mean, that is a little bit bullshit. But
Blizzard needed the execs needed their McLaren.
Yeah, I mean, but on the CPU thing, man, that's like saying I don't know. The comparison there would be that you get the CPU, and the CPU is like a little different color or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'd be pissed, but I mean, would you? I don't know.
The LEDs are like blue in one or pink in the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just
I wanted a blue LED setup in my rig.
Man? Yes, yeah. I don't know. It's like, wait, what was the Nvidia card that had just less video RAM than it was supposed to? Like you oh fuck, it's got less VRAM. No, that's not how it works at all, man. I don't know. It'd be like opening up your shiny new GPU and it's got, I don't know, like an orange on it or something, like the 970. Yeah, there was missing VRAM or something. I don't know. You open up your shiny new GPU and instead of being the normal green Nvidia, it's like slightly lime green or something. Like no, it's not. No, come on, man.
But that's also sort of like that sort of defends the point that some people have where they're saying that they want options to buy particular ones because, like you said, you wouldn't want an RNG video card.
Well, no, I mean you wouldn't, but a mount is not a video card.
No, obviously not. But that's what the players want. They don't want to gamble. They want to buy the individual mount that they want to buy. They don't want to have to gamble for it and possibly spend way more money than they intended to on a singular amount. And sometimes you're going to get lucky and you won't spend that much, right? Yeah. Sometimes you're not going to get lucky and you're going to spend extra. And that's why those systems exist, because it generally generates way more cash flow than just letting you buy what you want.
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely true, yeah.
Plus, they've kind of now established that 2K gems is the rate for when you want one. When you want one particular skin, you're going to pay 2K for it.
I could honestly say that stings more.
That I'm more mad about almost than the RNG boxes.
Well, I do think
that's crazy. That's $25 for a skin. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
For one mount as well.
For one mount. That is
Yeah.
the more cringy thing than the RNG loot boxes, in my opinion.
To be fair, though, I do think a number of the mounts getting released as singles will be much less than 2K. But I also think you're going to see a number of 2K mounts hit the gem store as well.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a mix of both.
Yeah. In fairness, the 2K and your as chat is correctly pointing out. Twitch chat is on point today, guys. There was a lot of work on that skin. It has custom effects on it for the mount animations. It is a remodel as well, not just we kind of retextured it and slapped some particle effects on it, right? It does look pretty cool, I have to say, right? But I don't know. They put a lot of work into that. But if they just do some like shitty basic ones and it's 2K, that would be kind of depressing. Especially, well, I guess the spooky bundle. The spooky bundle were basically just retextures, right? And they slap some particle effects on them, mostly. Ish. So that kind of makes sense why that one was a lot cheaper. But I mean, I think we'll see a mixture. There'll be these kind of elite. There'll be these elite mounts, right? These elite mounts where they'll be more expensive, and there'll be a remodel, a lot more work put into them. And then you'll also see some themed retextures with some particle effects of some other, like a full mount package for 2.8K or something. Was it? Or was it 1.6K? Can't remember. Or 2K? Can't remember.
It's technically 2K, but
2K.
They discounted it for you.
Yeah.
I think the 1.6 for the themed package is a fair price. I mean, I didn't buy it, but I thought that was...
I mean, you get 5 mounts for that price, right? So when you break down the cost... The problem is that people were saying, like, look, I don't want all 5 mounts. I just want a Griffin. I just want Bunny, whatever.
Yeah, fuck them. It's a theme. It's a set. You got to buy the whole set.
I don't know. I see, in my mind...
If they make them just 400 gems, pick the one you want, no one pays with cash. They all just trade gold for the one they want.
I don't think that's true.
You have to make the bundle big enough that people are discouraged from trading gold. Like, I don't know.
Certainly on some level there's a validity there, right? But I think their casual audience doesn't have that kind of gold to trade in on a regular basis.
They got plenty of Mystic coins, though. Sell your Mystic coins and drive the price down. keep it coming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think INKS is right though. I even think that for the 400 gem, 800 gem stuff, I do think the casual players won't spend gold on it. I think they will just buy 800 gems and just buy 2 of them or something.
Like if I just take my wife, who is super casual, she logs in and does her dailies. She runs around the new maps and is still discovering stuff in Path of Fire. She has something like 230 gold to her name. It takes her forever to make gold, because she doesn't necessarily do fractals, certainly not on a regular basis. She doesn't raid at all. She's not going to spend, when the labyrinth comes around, she does the labyrinth. That's as close to farming as she gets, right? And I would imagine quite a few people play in that manner. So those people who play like that, if that's a large enough number, they need to break the credit card out.
Yeah, I think that the other stuff is fine, and I think a lot of people will buy that anyway. I think we have a bit of a warped perspective because we're all elitists here, guys. Okay, we're all elitists, all of us. There isn't one of us.
Doesn't mean I have gold though.
Yeah, that is true. There are some poor elitists. That is true, actually. There are plenty.
The amount of gold I spend on buff food is more than I make, probably. Also, not running fractals anymore really isn't helping.
Yeah, I stopped running fractals, and now I don't make nearly as much gold as I used to on a daily basis.
So, I think that we will probably see a return of this. How do you think they're going to bring this back, guys? What's the next loot crate going to be, guys? What's going to happen
DLC.
next?
They're going to put one in a Black Lion chest.
Yeah, they think they'll put multiple. Because the thing is though, if they put
one,
just one.
For starters,
But wouldn't it be better to have more? Think about it, because if they put more, they can make the RNG, and then they can make it even worse. They can make more money, man.
The odds on a Black Lion chest are already terrible, and they're not improving. So, they can put one in there and entice you. People will outrage again, by the way. It won't be as bad as this outrage, but they'll outrage again, just like the elemental sword kind of thing, right? It depends what it looks like, too. If it's super shiny and eye-catching or on fire or something, then people will be more interested in it.
Oh yeah, guys, yeah. That shaman, my boy, he has mined the fact that there's some kind of weird package coming as well, right? to get
something about outfits or
yeah,
something.
outfits
Oh, boy.
and stuff like that. So I mean, I guess we'll be straight on to the next controversy when that comes out. I wonder what we'll have in it though. Honestly, I just want them to sell me convenience, man. As soon as they add something that will make my life easier and allow me to be lazy, I'm buying it. Boom, instantly. I don't even know what they could, right? Oh, yeah, here's the link from Random. Cheers, Random. Nice lad. What could they even add to the game that would make you be able to be lazier? That's the question I have to ask. Really.
Aerodrome teleportation stone. Yeah. I'll buy it.
Would you buy that though? I mean,
yep, I would. Yeah, because I go. That's half the places that I go. Like in game is the aerodrome. So
I'm not sure I'd buy.
What if they added
600 gems? Why not? Whatever.
What if they added a place really high up in the aerodrome, a platform that you can't reach?
Oh my god, an
way.
extra elitist zone within the aerodrome.
Yeah. Only the true elite are allowed in there, dude. Yeah.
You can only access if you have at least 800 legendary insights.
You gotta buy 1,000 gems to get into that area.
Yeah.
And it takes you to the aerodrome. It has all kinds of the vendors and crafting and all that nonsense. There you go.
You can fly your griffin around, down and swoop down to the plebs at the bottom and fly back up.
It's big enough. It's big enough, right?
You can just show off, yeah. That would a sigil gobbler. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, I suppose.
That would be
a sigil gobbler would be amazing. I'd buy that. I would buy that.
They already have that. It's called the perma merchant contract.
Yeah.
Gobbles up the sigils.
I would like just one mouse click to instantly delete all the sigils and not have to click through the merchant.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. A little bit of extra utility.
But they did something else to Black Lion chest that I'm not sure too many people are aware of, and it hasn't really been posted or talked about a whole lot. It would appear, don't have hardcore proof, but it would appear that you no longer get double of the unique uncommon items from Black Lion chests as long as you've unlocked it. Now, if you don't unlock it, it still bugs and gives you a second one. But let's say you get the new glider that's in there and you unlock it for your account. It doesn't give you... It used to be that you would roll a double and you would get a key or 2 keys instead. It appears that it just re-rolls the uncommon table for you automatically, giving you increased amount of stylist hair dye things, makeover kits, tickets, and dye kits. You get quite a few dye kits. And the reason that I say this is because I did 180 keys with Halloween, 45 keys this time, but the biggest indicator for, and I haven't seen any doubles, the biggest indicator for this was Fireproof got donated 550 Black Lion keys that he opened. Massive.
Hook me up.
He got
please.
0 doubles in 550 keys of the unique items. So it appears that they did some sort of change to that unique item. Like, let's say the Balthazar's Regalia. If you unlock that outfit, it used to be that you would roll and get 2 additional keys. It doesn't appear that you get those anymore, and it just auto re-rolls on the uncommon table and gives you something else that's there.
That's good, though, right?
Yes and no. I think it should give you 1 gold key that would roll uncommon or better. Because the problem is, how many hair dye kits do you really want to roll? Do you really want it to re-roll? Yeah, and how many dye kits, which usually give you like 4 silver, do you really want to re-roll? So, yeah, kind of good, kind of not good. Because the chances that those 2 keys that you got from that double uncommon were probably going to be garbage anyway. Unless you got, like, wardrobe unlock, which you might care about. But just something to, like, bring up or whatever.
No. I don't know. I think, I think people are me and me. Oh, well, so someone wrap this up, dude. So someone wrap up our thoughts on this because, we needed Brazil, dude. We needed fucking Brazil. God damn it.
He would have been good on this.
Wait, is he on Skype? Let's just call him right now. Where is he? Brazil, come. What? I mean, what the hell, man? I can't rant about this. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not on the same level. Oh no, dude. Baby range?
Well, Brazil would just say we're all dumb for still playing this game, and we should have all quit months ago. The exact right time to quit was exactly when he quit.
Yeah. Sure.
And if you quit before, then you gave up too soon, and if you're still playing, you're an idiot. So.
Okay, so there we go. It's like he's right here, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely not a good move by ArenaNet. Bit of a mistake. I can't believe they actually thought that would go down well. But hey, I don't think it was nearly as bad as people thought. I mean, look, it's annoying if you want that sparkly mount skin. But well, I guess you gotta fork the cash. You want that shit, man. Them's the breaks, dude. I don't know what to say.
Just wait till April when you can get your SAB mount skins.
Oh,
Just wait. Just save your gems. April's coming.
Yeah.
SAB mount skins.
Get in the Club 30, dude. The Club 30. You get in that?
There'll be Winter's Day skins.
Yeah. I think the real test of time is will we ever see an obtainable reward skin from anything. Someone did point in chat that people will be really triggered if there's like a challenge mode reward. And honestly, I think it will be so cool if there was a challenge mode reward skin.
Why would people be triggered by that though?
Well,
it should be.
I think we know MMO INKS. I think we know.
I mean,
you know why people will be triggered about that shit.
Yeah, I said when gliders were the thing, I said that the Soul River glider should have been a reward for completing all of the achievements in the first 3 raid wings. Complete all the achievements. Here's your special glider. It's so common in MMO. I don't know. Anyway.
So again, there's no cool rewards for doing the content. It's all in the gem store, unfortunately.
Because it's too far to find 9 friends. That's why INKS. People can find 4 friends, but they can't find 5 more.
Yeah, can't find. Just need 5 more people.
Yeah.
The community will go apeshit. Don't get me wrong. I understand that there should be a little bit of parity as far as earnability of rewards and skins via game modes or whatever. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing either to put to put rewards behind difficult content.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and as Atomic Fruit says, why not have some stuff in the open world? Like why not get a mount for doing like every achievement in a map, for example, right? What if you completely beat a map? You beat everything in the Path of Fire maps. You get a glider, or you get a mount. So suppose you beat everything in the Crystal Oasis, right? What if you got a raptor mount, right? And if you beat everything in the Highlands, you get a special bunny, something like that. If you beat everything in the Elon Riverlands, you get a skimmer, and everything in the Desolation, you get a jackal. And I suppose you could do one for a griffin and Vappy as well, right? You could do. Well, I guess that would be kind of spoilery. But I guess you could have it unlock after all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, why not have stuff like that? Oh yeah, griffin skin for all races. Yeah, sure, something like that. Why not? Why not have stuff like this? And this is why ArenaNet people are a little pissed. That's one of the. I think this is one of the issues that I'm able to comment on a little bit better. Is that people get pissed off. The only way you can get this is in the gem store, in that cash shop. And it was the same with gliders. I don't think people were that triggered. They were a little bit sad over it. I don't think they were that pissed, but they were a little bit sad over the fact that there were not a lot of gliders obtainable. Of course, you could obtain the World vs. World one, the Fractal one, the PvP one. No problem. You can do that.
Mounts are way more popular than gliders, though.
But yeah, mounts are pretty damn
way
popular.
More popular.
Yeah. And I think people are a little bit upset that you can't. And honestly, I 100% get that. I think it's a real shame that there aren't really obtainable mount skins. It's a real shame. But honestly, I would if I wanted a mount skin, I would like a little bit of prestige to it. Why not have one for being top 10 in PvP or something? Get a PvP themed raptor or something. So that would be kind of cool, right?
A llama. It's a PvP.
Yeah.
It's a raptor, but
it's a
raptor,
llama. But it's a llama. Yeah. Oh no, it would have to be the jackal, I guess, because it's got 4 legs. Or some kind of really weird llama. I don't know. I mean, that would be amazing, dude. Be so cool. Or in, I think tying it to World versus World would be difficult. You just have to put it on a grind, I guess, because it's very difficult to have like a prestige thing in World versus World because of how it's wonky with the ranking system, right? But yeah. Well, oh yeah, EG is gonna shell out again. They're gonna, yeah. They want those mount skins, so they're gonna pay $400 to win that AT and get the mounts. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Well, and look, if you really want the CM mount, then Yummy is willing to provide a service
At the end of the
too.
day, it's the same thing. Like, it's even better, right? You're actually legally allowed to do that. You're legally allowed. You can actually you can go ahead and buy every challenge mode reward you want. If you really want those challenge modes, guys, if you want those achievement points, Yummy will hook you up. tinyurl.com/raidbook, guys. Okay, there it is.
Just go grind the gold, right?
Yeah.
Grind the gold, give it the Yummy, and boom, easy mount.
Or is it bit.ly? I can't even remember, man. I don't know what they use. Anyway.
Eventually, they won't let you pug anymore unless you show it to them. Unless you ping.
Everybody mount up. I need to inspect you before we go into the raid. Why the fuck is this guy on a Springer? You're out. Kick.
Get the hell out of here.
Get out of my raid.
Get the fuck out.
Maybe while we are still talking about microtransactions, have you guys seen the quarterly earnings report from NCSoft?
Yes.
What do you guys think about that? About like the mobile games, especially?
I think that I don't know why that's really a surprise to people. Mobile games
are the
make
shit.
crap ton of money.
If I but the number is so high. It's it doesn't even compare to the other
microtransactions.
It's insane. It's actually insane.
They literally make mobile games. They literally make mobile games so that you can almost not play them if you don't spend money on them.
Well, yeah, and mobile games aren't targeted at actual gamers like us. They're targeted at just like somebody who's bored
People
on the
like
bus.
my mom who likes to play Disney Princess and buy fucking snowmen or some shit. I don't even know what she spends money on. Yep. There you go.
It's a big market, man. It's the thing that's sort of taken off hugely. I mean, it's massive these days. And yeah, with regards to how POF did, I was honestly surprised because POF, I felt hype, man. I guess the word didn't get out as well, so it didn't bring a lot of people back to the game. But I was kind of surprised. I thought POF was going to do well, and it really didn't do as well as I imagined in ArenaNet Hope, which is maybe why they tried to make where they're trying to focus on some microtransactions, gem store money. Because I don't know, dude. I think this expansion is really good. I think it's such a shame that I guess people didn't really get attached to it as much, right? Because I think there's loads of good stuff that's been added, and the game is in such a great state right now. I would say, aside from like a few mild hiccups.
There's a couple of things. Yeah, there's a couple of things working against it, though. Number one, it is cheaper, which means you need to sell a higher volume. Yeah, like a much higher volume, right? The other thing is it didn't have the same hype up or wind up time that Heart of Thorns had, and it wasn't advertised very well. They didn't go to conventions. I mean, they came to Gamescom, but didn't have a presence on the floor. They just didn't really advertise it and get it out there amongst gamers in the same way that they did with Heart of Thorns. And I think, I assumed at the time that they had metrics that told them better, but maybe they weren't quite accurate.
Apparently, we have to see the assumptions. Chat is telling me that we need, apparently, like it won't have been counted properly because it would have spilled over.
It will, yeah. So it'll be split between 3 and 4.
Okay, fine. It's not that bad then. Easy, boys.
But it'll depend.
A lot of pre-orders into the first number, and then
you'll need to actually look at the complete picture in another quarter or so to see what the drop-off rate is like compared to Heart of Thorns as well.
POF also got really good reviews, which Heart of Thorns did not. So it's maybe the pre-orders weren't so big on POF because they didn't hype it very much. But the good reviews will kind of lessen the drop-off. But that's just speculation. I mean, maybe we'll see.
Whereas Heart of Thorns had a lot of hype. There was huge hype on Heart of Thorns, so I imagine there were a lot of pre-orders, but then it dropped and it turned into a bit of a... Well, I mean, we remember Heart of Thorns launch. It was a mild clown fiesta, I suppose.
I mean, if they didn't have a raid come out a month after for Heart of Thorns, it would have been in big trouble. The raid kind of saved Heart of Thorns, I would say.
Yeah.
The raid and the way that the metas work.
Need a raid now, Baby Rage.
Will it save POF?
Oh, you better hurry.
Oh, what a raid. It's coming at the end of November. Boom.
I hope so.
Please, ArenaNet, hook me up. Honestly, guys, I wish I had leaks. You might be asking me, Teapot, is that a leak? I wish it was a leak, man. But honestly, I've heard nothing. But yeah.
No.
Watch this Tuesday, guys. Watch this Tuesday. We're going to get those announcements, man. I hope.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
Well, and I know we need to end this, but real quick, there is like I haven't even gone to do it, just been seeing people talk about it. But there's this thing happening around the Shadow Behemoth right now, Behemoth, how the hell you're supposed to say it, with the dead bodies and stuff. It's not quite a current event, but it's leading into season 4, right? So soonish.
Do you think it's a current event, or do you think it's Living World season 4? Like an
I think it's
a lead-in. It's the lead-in.
It's a breadcrumb, yeah. Something about the Shiver Peaks as well. There's a guy, and you can statue or something you need.
Yeah, it's something to do with like the gateway to the underworld.
It's the underworld.
And who did we last see when we were in the underworld?
Boy, Joko.
Joko. So of course he's coming out.
He's
He's
coming
getting
back.
free. Because when we saw him in there, he was chained up with those orange Balthazar chains.
Yeah.
The ones he hit Aurene with, but those aren't going to be there anymore.
Spoilers, Balthazar wrecked, man, deleted.
Yeah.
I think he'll be. Looks like side stories. Well, it's interesting you say that, Mithrin, because I actually think that unless the narrative team need a wheelbarrow to carry their balls around, they probably won't put him in a raid. I'm not gonna lie. Unless they have got serious nerves of steel, I don't think we're going to see Joko-related boss fights, man.
Unless they want to see another outrage.
Yeah. Because that might trigger people. So I think it's more likely to be part of the kind of like the main story even, right? It will be the main thing. But not really the raid. But it would be cool. It would be kind of awesome if we fought some of his minions in the raid or something. I mean, he could have some cool lieutenants, right? Some evil, demonic, undead minions. Also, could be some. It could also the underworld leaking out. We fight some underworld themed bosses. Also, be really cool. People will be really hyped about that. You know, a bit of a Guild Wars 1 throwback. That would also trigger people as well. But at this point, I mean, every single raid is going to trigger people. So I guess it doesn't really matter that much.
I think a lot of people speculated something with Doom. Maybe.
Ooh.
With like,
I don't think.
I think there was
School
speculation.
Underworld, man. Guild Wars 1 Underworld is back.
Because was he like I never played Guild Wars 1 myself, so like I think he was like imprisoned or something, and now the speculation is because the gods have officially left. Now his imprisonment is over or something because Grant isn't there anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, the whole point of the Underworld is you kind of like re-imprison, you kind of like put him back to sleep, I suppose. Is this something you channel some spells and turn into a ghost with a bunch of icicle guys and just put him away until you go back in the instance again. That's about the long and the short of it.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see. That would be cool if we fought that. But I think that will about do it, guys. We did it. That was nowhere near as controversial as I was expecting, man. I think we were just going to start going crazy. But
I think overall, most of us are like happy with. Maybe we're not happy with like Roca's not happy with the druid changes, but I think on a big picture, if you step back and just look at the whole meta, it's fun. I'm having more fun. With the team comps now.
I think.
I might be personally affected by this, so I'm very biased, but I do try to see the big picture. I do appreciate the change, I guess, to the game.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm very hopeful, actually, for more changes to come in that's further going to diversify. I think they're definitely... I can see the direction they're going in. I think it's good. With regards to
they just need to make Holomancer.
Yeah.
Holomancer sword needs to be better than Bomb Kit, and that's the number one most important balance change left to do.
And again, we can see them moving towards that, right? We can see them moving towards that with those buffs. Yeah. They also buff the sword. God damn it, guys! I just have to say this before we end the stream, man. Oh my god! I custom edited every single fucking tooltip that got changed, man. I'll actually post them at some point because otherwise maybe you guys won't believe me. But every single skill that was relevant that got changed in a meaningful way, I edited the tooltip manually. Oh my god. And I even arranged them in various orders, but I forgot to add audio sources to the other scene. What a disaster. I could have actually done it on the stream, but hey, whatever, who cares? Well, I just want you guys to know I did a bunch of stuff for the stream. I tried. I failed miserably. But anyway, yeah. My own personal meme aside, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been one hell of a tea time, guys. It's time to it's now we finished talking about the game. It's time to tell you guys about ourselves. Okay, returning, the king, the champion, the god. The part of any Guild Wars 2 podcast that makes it a Guild Wars 2 podcast. You can't have one without him. It's MMO INKS, guys. MMO INKS. Who are you? Welcome back.
Jesus. You can follow my content, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at MMO INKS. We'll be back to streaming this week. So there you go. Check it out.
Okay. There we go. All right, guys. Praise INKS in chat, please. I want that shit spammed now. I want it spammed hard and fast. Okay, go. Spam. But yeah, be sure to check out INKS. He's back. He's back on TeaTime. He's returned. He's here. Let's see. But who else have we got here? We have some elitists, some very toxic players, known for their being delusional and also elitist and toxic. Let's see. We have Lucky Noobs. Roca. What are you up to these days, my friend?
Well, I'm just streaming whenever I can, basically. We're doing a lot of benchmarking now after the balance patch, obviously. Yeah, so I stream. Go check out my channel. May I say for a second that I didn't care about any topics of the stream. I just wanted to be here for the grand return of INKS. I don't care about rounds.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing. Wow. I think you speak for most of the viewers. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
I can't disagree with that. I really can't disagree with that. And let's see. Finally, he is a sports shoe, a brand of sports gear. It is Nike from Death and Taxes. What's up?
Hi.
What do you do these days?
Well, I part-time stream Guild Wars 2, but I'm now mainly a Zwift streamer.
Oh yeah, dude.
So if you guys are interested in that, that's I spend more time on that than Guild Wars 2 now. So, and on Monday I'm gonna have my new updated Warrior guide on YouTube. So if that's the thing that you're interested in, you can check that out. But yeah, that's basically it.
All right. So be sure the bot is posting the links. You can also find links to everyone here below the stream as well, including me, guys. Just bear that in mind. Be sure to follow this stream. You've got some serious quality content here, guys. It's extreme quality. So be sure to follow. Follow me on Twitter as well. Make sure we defeat MMO INKS. It's really important. Got to wreck INKS. Make sure we get on that, guys. Okay. Yeah. Then sub on YouTube. All that stuff. Yeah, sub on Twitch as well. You can get the emotes. You can get the best emotes here. Be a legendary insight. It will make you a better raider. If you're struggling with raids, say you're struggling adjusting to the new meta. You were bad, so you were a Magi Druid. As Roca says, you're a noob, fucking newbie. You need to play DPS now when it's hard. Okay? You need to subscribe. And you'll be able to play better. Okay? That's how it works. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll make the bot post all that stuff again, and now this is where we this is where we leave you all, guys. Thanks for watching. Follow, sub, all that stuff. And now let's I'll tell you what, let's do a raid. So yeah, we're gone now on YouTube. See you guys later. Let's use the new Twitch raid function. Thanks for watching YouTube.